I tell you, it saw me.
See the little metal man with his great big...
What's wrong, Alex? Is father ill?
He's dying.
If she hears one word of this, your lives won't be worth a red cent.
My father would rather be murdered than laughed at.
The righteous don't laugh. They cluck.
So she's gonna kill all of us? How can she hope to get away with it? It's insane.
Of course it's insane. She's insane.
Hi, this is Kelly Maroney from Shopping Mall and the Zero Boys, and you are listening to The Hysteria Continues.
Yes, indeed. You are listening. Did someone just drop something?
I did, I'm afraid.
Did you? Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
Not broken glass?
It was very scary, but it did not break.
Okay. Oh, thank goodness for that. Well, we won't stop and start again. That's just the magic of live radio. Well, not like, you know what I mean.
Dead radio.
Dead radio, yes. What are you saying, Erik? What are you saying?
I'm not insinuating anything.
You were. Right. Okay. Well, welcome back to The Hysteria Continues, episode 49. And this is one of our 2 Christmas episodes. We've got a... because we're having the holidays ourselves over the holidays. But we're going to do a special Christmas quiz as well as a little filler before we get into the new year. But... we are going to be covering Nathan's Choice, which is 1972's ABC TV movie of the week, Home for the Holidays. And so without further ado, I will introduce you to Satan's Little Helpers. Erik, how are you doing over in Ireland?
Who's Little Helpers?
Satan's.
Satan's. Yeah, that's me. I'm doing very good, thank you.
Okay. Has it been cold where you are? It's been freezing here.
Oh, dearie me, it has been very cold indeed. Yes.
Because didn't you have to go and stand by bus stops and stuff, don't you, in the morning?
Yes, because I am not a car owner, I have to get the bus to work. And sometimes you can be waiting, well, a long time in chilly cold and rain and wind, and it's all a bit miserable. And roll-on lottery win. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Well, I feel your pain, Erik. Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and there's nothing more chilling than a warm family gathering.
Exactly.
There's Dublin.
Yes, that's probably true, actually. But how are you? Are you feeling Christmassy yet, Nathan?
Well, I have all my Christmas shopping done, thankfully, so I don't have to do any of that anymore. Okay. Hooray.
Excellent. Well, that's good. And how about you, Joseph? How are you doing?
I don't know.
Was that Arnie again?
Couldn't understand what he was saying.
No.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know. That's how I feel. I don't know how I feel.
Oh, okay.
That's very...
what's the word for it?
Scattershot today. Actually, I feel all right.
Hungover?
Thanks for asking. No, I don't drink that much. Actually, I don't really drink at all.
God, how strange.
Yeah, you're weird. Stay away from us.
Don't trust people.
I try to lead a healthy lifestyle here, people. I don't want to be, an example of Erik's love of Kit Kats and Justin's love of the wine cellar.
Joseph, we don't have
Merry
a wine
Christmas,
cellar.
everyone. Merry Christmas.
There's more to me than Kit Kats.
Yeah, and Joseph, I don't have a wine cellar because we never have enough wine in the house long enough to actually bother having a cellar. So
yeah, you do. It's in your kidneys.
It is, yes. All the chateaus. So, well, that's good. And also, this episode, we are going to be returning to one of the more popular top 3s, which is cheesy dialogue clips, but this time from non-slasher horror movies. But before we get onto the feature presentation, why don't we have a quick chat about what we've been watching recently? Erik, would you like to go first?
Okay, well, I watched a giallo that I'd never heard of before, and I discovered it actually on YouTube. You can watch it in its entirety on there. It's called 9 Guests for a Crime. Have you heard of that one, Justin?
I haven't, no.
No, it's actually really quite good. It's quite trashy. There's lots of sleaze in there. It's about a father, his 3 sons, and their other halves who all go to this villa that he owns on this island, and that like they're the only people there. And once they get there, sort of one by one, people are knocked off and meet a sticky end. And you know, there's a pre-credits sequence where a young man is murdered, and you know, I wonder if that has anything to do with the murders that are happening 20 years later. It's got elements of Bay of Blood, and it's got that kind of everyone shagging everyone else approach of, you know, classic Euro trash movies from the 70s. It's from 1977, and it's directed by Ferdinando Baldi, who did Coming At You, which was the many say the kick started the early 80s 3D boom. And then the last 30 or 40 minutes of the film, it really, really is very much a slasher movie, and it has this mysterious figure dressed in blood-stained white robes going around offing all the people. And it has a typically ludicrous giallo explanation at the very end. But I really enjoyed it, and I'd never heard of it before. It stars Arthur Kennedy as the father of the family, and we'd probably know him best from Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. And also he's in The Antichrist, which is one of my favourite Exorcist spin-offs from the 70s. But it's worth a look. So if you just Google, or if you just go into YouTube and type in 9 Guests for a Crime, it's there, and it's, you know, you can watch the full 90 minutes of it. It's really interesting, really good.
Okay, well that's interesting.
I've seen it. I don't think anyone in this movie is very sympathetic. I think they're all very mean and very selfish.
That's why I was sort of comparing it to Bay of Blood, because it has that kind of everyone's out for themselves.
But I remember the movie. I think it's fairly interesting.
Yeah,
interesting. Sorry, I was going to say there's that. I was thinking it might have been that the other one, 9 Guests for the Killer or something. Is it, or 9? The one set in the theatre where they stab the lady up the, you know what?
Lulu,
yes.
The other one I'll quickly mention that I saw is I recently purchased the Basket Case trilogy on Blu-ray. It came out, I think it's Second Sight have brought it out. You know, Basket Case has been a favourite of mine for many years. Parts 2 and 3, less so. I mean, I think they're entertaining enough, but the first one is what sells it for me, and it looks great on Blu-ray actually. Even though it's framed in 4:3, and Frank Henenlotter explains on the commentary track that he just had no idea that there was different sort of framing ratios for theatrical films. I mean, he did the film on the fly as a complete novice, and there's some great supplements on the Blu-ray as well, and the one that looked the most boring turned out to be the most interesting for me, and that was an interview with the movie poster illustrator Graham Humphreys. Now, I'd no idea who he was, but it turns out I did know who he was, because when we did our top 3 favourite slasher artworks, our movie posters, his art for Freddy's Revenge was my number 2, and it turns out he did a huge number of UK video arts from the 80s, things like the UK versions of Evil Dead 1 and 2, the first 5 Nightmare on Elm Streets, The Kindred, Return of the Living Dead, Creepers, which was, you know, is the alternate title of Phenomena, the Dario Argento movie. And the interview with him was really, really interesting, I thought. But the whole package is great, well worth investing in. Parts 2 and 3 still don't, you know, enthrall me that much, but I think it's worth it for part 1. And there's a great documentary actually on the making of the film, including lots of behind the scenes footage, which is wonderful to see, you know, after all these years. So that's, Basket Case. I don't know, would anyone else have the same love for Basket Case as I do?
I haven't seen that.
I like the first one a lot. Don't really remember the other ones very well.
Yeah. The other 2 are kind of forgettable, I'd say.
They were filmed back to back, weren't they? I seem to remember.
Yes. As a kind of contractual obligation, as far as I remember, to get Frankenhooker off the ground.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. All right. How about you, Nathan? Are you a fan of the Basket Case movies?
To be honest with you, I think I've only seen the first one, and I liked it. That's the only one I've seen.
Okay. Is there anything else, Erik?
Well, I saw the Silent Night remake, but I don't know if anyone else wants to discuss that ahead of me.
We can discuss it now.
Okay. Well,
I haven't seen it. I think everyone else has, but I've not seen it.
Have you seen it, Nathan?
Yes.
Okay, well, basically, it's the 2012 reboot of Silent Night, Deadly Night. And again, as with a lot of these remakes, it's kind of in name only, although there are a couple of nods to the original movie within there. It's getting quite a lot of negative reaction. And I couldn't quite understand that because I think it's one of the better remakes of recent years. I think it has I know it's more or less gone straight to DVD in the States, but I think it has a real theatrical look to it. And I think it's on a par with something like the Sorority Row remake, the My Bloody Valentine remake, and Black Christmas, all three of which I liked, but I know a lot of people probably don't like those three. But if you like those three remakes, I think you'll really enjoy Silent Night. You know, it's a real slasher, bona fide slasher movie. It has you guessing who the identity of the killer is till the very end, even though the ending's a bit of a disappointment in my opinion, but it has like lots of gore. It's quite stylish, and then it has nods to the original, like such as the catatonic grandfather who awakens to warn his grandson that you better watch out. Christmas Eve is the scariest night of the year, and of course you have the infamous impaling on antlers scene is redone in this film. I thought it was really enjoyable, and when I was reading the reaction on forums, I was like, oh dear, something's wrong with me, obviously, because I think I'm the only one who likes this. But fortunately, I think either Joseph or Nathan liked it. Joseph, what did you think?
Oh, I loved it. I was really surprised. I think the reason why I liked it so well is because I went in knowing I was going to hate it. So I was watching it, and I kept having all this negative reaction in the back of my head from a certain forum, which will remain nameless.
Body count continues.
Everyone's saying this movie's terrible. This movie sucks, and I'm sitting there thinking this movie's actually really good. It's breezy. It's dumb, but it's gory. It's fun. It's really glossy. It's polished. I just didn't see anything wrong with it. I mean, obviously,
breezy is a great description of it, actually.
Yeah,
It's not
great.
criticism.
It's a fun movie. Yeah. I liked it a lot. I thought it was suitably gory, and I liked. I mean, not to get into too spoilerific since Justin hasn't seen it, but I like the one kill. I won't say who dies or how they die, but the one kill of the one character that is introduced towards the beginning of the film. I really thought that specific person had it coming, and when they opened the door, I was glad they got it.
Yes. That was quite fun. And I was quite surprised at that as well. I do agree. I think it. And has it got any theatrical release in the States, or has it just gone straight to DVD?
It got a very, very minimal theatrical release here. It went to video on demand and Blu-ray and DVD.
You didn't like the Black Christmas or My Bloody Valentine remakes, did you?
No, I did not. I didn't care for either of them.
Yeah.
But I did like the Sorority Row remake.
Yeah, I think Justin will really like it because I know he's enthusiastic about those two remakes. To a degree.
Well, it hasn't been released in the UK yet, so I was, so it's interesting. It's been released in Ireland.
It was really. Yeah, it came out on DVD in Dublin last Friday.
Okay, how about you, Nathan? Have you seen it?
I have, and before I tell you my opinion, what do you guys think that I thought of it?
I'd say you liked it.
Okay, yeah, I loved it. Now it's a really dumb movie, of course, but when has that ever bothered me? I like dumb movies. I loved the kill that Joseph mentioned, and I can't spoil it either, but the kill in the doorway. I was laughing a lot during that one because I kind of didn't see it coming, but I thought it was hilarious when it did. It's just a fun time waster, basically, and I must say, though, that in all honesty, I did prefer the Black Christmas remake, but I still really like Silent Night.
Okay. Pox on you, young man.
I love the Black Christmas remake. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I love it.
You're the only one who doesn't like it, Joseph, I'm afraid.
I thought this was much better because I actually liked the characters in Silent Night, whereas the Black Christmas remake, I didn't care for anyone.
Oh, yeah, I liked the characters, even the bitchy girls. I thought they were fun.
I like, is it Jamie King or is it Jame King? I'm not sure how you pronounce her name. Jamie King, yeah. Because she was in the My Bloody Valentine remake as well, wasn't she?
That's right,
yes.
Yeah, and she's kind of like playing a very young sort of police woman in this.
She's in the Mother's Day remake too.
Oh, is she? All right.
Yeah,
She was
that's
the
right.
wife.
She's the queen of remakes.
What an accolade that is.
Yeah. No, but she's actually very good in it. She's got, a really likable character in the film. I saw somebody on our, I think it was on our Facebook page, giving out about Malcolm McDowell, and I would agree. I think he's quite hammy in everything he does these days.
He phones everything in. He doesn't really care. He just collects a paycheck.
He's Mr. Paycheck, isn't he? Well, he did the 2 zombie films, didn't he?
And he was in the woeful Silent Hill Revelation as well.
Right.
Well, I hope he got paid well for the Rob Zombie movies.
One thing that's interesting to me about Silent Night is, and I'm not going to spoil it or say anything, but there is at least one character that you're certain is just there to die who doesn't. So, I mean, I thought that was interesting.
I know who you're talking about.
I think I know who you mean as well, yeah.
Well, it's obvious who it is, especially towards the end.
But I mean, you'll know who I mean after you watch it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I give it a big thumbs up, I'm afraid. So.
Oh, I do too.
Regardless of what people say, yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Don't listen to all the Scrooges.
Yeah. And I think Justin, you'll like it too.
Well, especially at Christmas. Yes, we don't want that happening at Christmas, do we? So no, we'll look forward to it when it finally gets a legitimate release in the UK. So I don't know when that will be, Eric, but I should.
You can import it from Ireland.
Okay. Oh, that's
true.
true.
You can import it from Baby Jesus.
It is. Well, it's that time of year, isn't it? It's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Baby Jesus will deliver it upon thee.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much, Eric. Is there anything else you wanted to?
No, just to say that it also echoes. Is it? I don't know if it is in Silent Night, Deadly Night, but basically the premise is that the killer targets people who have been naughty, and they all get sent a lump of coal in a little presentation gift box.
Yes.
But I don't know. Does that happen in Silent Night, Deadly Night? I know it happens in Christmas Evil, but I'm not sure if Silent Night, Deadly Night follows that premise. It doesn't, does it? He just goes around killing people who remind him of Santa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but anyway, that's the idea behind Silent Night, and don't believe the naysayers. Well, do if you didn't like any of those remakes I mentioned, but otherwise give it a whirl. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, Eric. Nathan, do you want to go next? What have you been watching recently?
Let's see. Well, 2 things. Last night I showed a friend of mine Boarding House, where the rent won't kill you, but something else will.
Yeah.
And I love that movie very, very much. I mean, it's awful, but, oh so good. And I don't want to say too much because I feel kind of guilty picking it for a future show because I don't know if it's necessarily a slasher, but I don't care. I'm going to pick it anyway.
I think we could
so
all
I won't
see
say
that
too
one
much.
coming, Nathan. I think we could all see that one coming.
You did mention it in the past, so I have a copy ready to go. I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Okay, then yes, I'm definitely going to pick it soon. I promise.
I have actually on the shelf. I can see I've got a big box video release of it from the States. You know when the videos used to come out with cardboard boxes and those kind of big slip trays. I've got one of those at Boarding House, but I've never watched it, so I shall do that then.
Oh, this will be fun times.
Okay.
Is it a shot on VHS movie?
Yes, it's shot on video. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Joseph, are you excited about watching Boarding House again?
Oh yes, I love Boarding House. I think it's hilarious.
Okay, but it sounds like it could be right up our street, really, doesn't it, Eric?
It does actually, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Okay,
It'll be fun.
Anything else, Nathan?
I went to the theater and watched The Collection, the sequel to The Collector, and I thought it was terrific. I mean, yeah, if you watch it, you're going to be reminded of Saw, but I mean, the difference is I don't think that The Collection lingers on the torture, really. I mean, it has traps, but most of them are really quick. If people get caught in them, they die like almost instantaneous. So the traps are not really torturous. But obviously with a movie like this, you kind of have to go in not really expecting realism because obviously the whole idea is unrealistic. But, I mean, I think the filmmakers knew it, and they just tried to make a really fast-paced, fun movie because it's not really depressing. I mean, it's a fun, fast-paced movie, and it benefits from having a really good anti-hero and a great heroine. I mean, I love the girl that was playing the main girl in the movie. I thought that she was pretty smart and resourceful. So, I really like the characters in this movie, and I love the movie overall.
Does it have any of the same characters from the first movie?
Yeah, the main guy, the one that got collected in part 1 at the end, he's the main guy in part 2 as well.
Okay, interesting. Because it hasn't exactly bombed, has it? But I think it opened at number 10, didn't it? In the States?
Number 10. So I'm wondering.
It's a shame it's doing so poorly because it's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the first one. I don't think the second one is probably not going to come out theatrically over here.
No.
By the sounds of it, I'd imagine it'll go straight to DVD.
Well, it'll probably come out in Dublin in the next couple of weeks, I imagine.
It might. Yeah.
So, have you seen it, Joseph?
No, not yet, but I am looking forward to giving it a spin soon.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Oh, that sounds good, Nathan. Well, thanks for that. Is there anything else?
No.
No? Okay. Well, thank you. Joseph, do you want to tell us what you've been watching recently?
Yes, I've been on another one of my found footage kicks. Again, I'm trying to watch as many as I can so I can take a good extended break. But I watched one called Apartment 143, which is probably one of the best made found footage films I've seen, and it's certainly the best acted. I mean, the acting in this movie was really incredible, and I thought it had a really good story. But if ever a film showed too much and went too over the top, it's this movie. So I really couldn't care because, I mean, they didn't have an off button. It was just like wham, bam, wham, bam, wham, bam, and it just never stopped. And I liked, there was like a couple of quiet moments that I really liked, but the rest of it was just so, over the top. So I can't really recommend it, even though the acting, I can say again, is really, really phenomenal.
Was it supernatural or?
Yeah, it's supernatural. It's sort of a riff on one of those paranormal investigators go into an establishment to debunk or prove paranormal activity. So it's one of those types.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And you say you've seen some more?
Yeah, another one I watched called Crow's Nest. It was another found footage film. Now this one was pretty good. It's sort of a wrong turn done with found footage, and I kind of enjoyed it. My only problem is that the characters do some really stupid things, and one of them is obviously not turning the camera off and running when you should. But I guess if they did that, you wouldn't have a movie. So you kind of have to go along with him saying, "Oh, we need the camera for light or whatever to be able to see in the dark or whatever." But overall, I thought it was pretty good. It had a couple of good, jump scares, and it had one good sequence that was really, really graphic and unexpected and kind of tense. The whole time I'm sitting there thinking, this reminds me of Wrong Turn, where they're in the cabin, they're having to hide from the hillbilly mutants. And this scene in particular in Crow's Nest was a lot like that, but done in the whole found footage way. And I got a kick out of that. But overall, yeah. Pretty good, not great, but yeah, if you do like found footage movies, watch this one. You probably will enjoy it.
Okay. Well, that sounds good. I'm taking it, Nathan, you haven't sort of watching these along with Joseph, are you? You're not as much of a found footage fan as Joseph.
I haven't seen Nathan in like 3 months.
Yeah, we haven't seen each other in a long time.
Wow. Well, none of us actually. Well, I haven't met any of you guys in the flesh, have I?
No.
One day we will.
One day.
We don't do movie nights anymore, so I don't really get to see him anymore.
But if you're listening and you're a benefactor to the Hysteria Continues, why not throw us $10,000 so we can all meet up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe all 200 and some odd people who like us on Facebook can donate like $10 each or $20 each.
I think we'll need more than that.
Yeah, I think you'd be a little more for us.
Well, if it's $20 times 258, let me break out the calculator here and see how much we'd need. $20 times, let's say 250 people. No, that'll be $500. Sorry.
Yeah.
Make it $500 times.
No, it'd be $5,000 surely.
Yeah, 5,000, right.
We could do a Hysteria Continues
Make
telethon.
it 40. Make it 40.
Okay. Well, if you're feeling flush, all we need is that one megabucks person to make it happen, to make the dream come true.
Yeah.
And
we'll do a special video cast of all of us in one room.
Because I'd love to get my hands on a big 50-incher.
Eric.
A television, I meant. What did you think I meant?
Of course. And also, if you give an extra $100, we'll fly back with a liver for an orphan, won't we, Eric?
Yeah.
To Ireland. You must know one. An orphan.
Do I know? Yeah.
Eric, I have a 51.
Sorry?
I have a 51-incher.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
That's why you're so popular with the ladies.
That could be it, yeah.
Well, before this...
Because all the ladies like television, obviously.
Exactly, of course.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. They don't like me.
Do you just pop it through a tent or like a sheet or something?
I use it for a tent pole, yes.
The TV. Oh, Joseph, is there any...
Oh, you mean the TV? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, are there any other films you want to talk about?
Ooh, me? No, I think we've covered it all.
Okay, right, okay. Well, let's quickly run through what I've been watching. I've been on a bit of a Dick Randall tip. So, what?
A Dick tip? That's what you've been on?
A Dick Randall, the producer. But completely by accident, actually. I watched, for the first time, Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks, which is the 1974 Italian... sort of really bad but very funny Frankenstein monster movie produced by Dick Randall. I think he actually directed it, and it's got it's Frankenstein mixed with Trog, and it's got Frankenstein happens to have Neanderthal men walking around his estate, which he experiments on, and one of them is played by someone called Boris Lugosi, who I kind of guess isn't his real name. And it's just very bad. There's lots of ladies, their blouses fly off and all the usual kind of stuff. A bit of gore and some very, very funny dubbing. And there's a great bit in it where it's set in the 18th century and one of the villagers is wearing Wrangler jeans, which is quite sort of funny. But the other Dick Randall film I saw, and that was courtesy of Erik, who sent me his spare copy of Don't Open Till Christmas, which is obviously bringing it back into a kind of Christmas feel, which is the Brit 1984 slasher movie, where somebody, rather than a killer Santa, like in Silent Night, it's actually someone going around killing Santas. And I've kind of found appreciation, I kind of guess, for this movie, because I used to not hate it, but I thought it was rubbish. And it is a rubbish film. It's not a good film by any stretch, but it's pretty funny. And I got a real kick out of it watching it last night. And also especially got a kick out of the Mondo Macabro DVD has a making of, actually filmed at the same time when they were making it back in 83, 84, whenever it was, with lots behind the scene footage. And it sounds like a really interesting film for us to cover on the podcast at some point, because it had a really checkered history with, what's his name? Richard Purdom? No, what's his name?
Edmund Purdom.
Edmund Purdom, that's it. Who was also in Absurd and Pieces and various other...
And he's in Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks.
He is indeed. And he was a original director of Don't Open Till Christmas. Then he got fired. And so there's loads of kind of footage on the on this DVD of on the behind the scenes of scenes with completely different actors and actresses who they obviously completely refilmed. So yeah, it sounds like a really interesting kind of backstory to that. It's something you quite enjoy, isn't it, Erik?
I do. I love it. And my favourite scene in it actually is obviously Caroline Munro's music scene, where she sings that funky early 80s number, and a mangled Santa comes up. A mangled Santa comes up through the sort of trapdoor contraption thing on the stage. Great fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Are you fans of it, Nathan and Joseph?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of that movie. I always thought it was interesting because, I don't want to give too much away and go into spoiler territory here, but, it's like, they paint somebody as the main character and you expect the final battle to be with that person, and it's not. And I will say this, I love the actress. She was also in Slaughter High. I liked her character in that movie a lot.
Yeah. No, she was good in it, wasn't she? And what about you, Joseph? You seen it recently? Hello, Joseph.
Hello.
Joseph?
Have we lost Joseph?
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, there he is.
Where have you been?
I was cleaning
Where
up
were you?
after someone.
After someone? Not a cat. Was it a cat, or was it your girlfriend?
Hello, Joseph.
Justin, it was a cat.
It was a cat. Okay, well, thank goodness for that. But,
God.
Are you on a delay or something? Like they ask you a
No,
question?
I'm not.
and
I'm
it's
just
like,
kind of in the middle of cleaning up a big pile of urine.
okay.
gross.
Well, we'll come back to you on that. I'll just, a couple of the other films.
I missed the
watched, just
question.
very quickly.
I pulled the phone away from my ear to spray some spray on the floor, and then I started scrubbing the floor, so I didn't really get to hear half of the conversation because.
What is it with cats in the lavatory in this podcast?
I don't know. Well, actually, I'll tell you, not a funny story, but last night, Lovely didn't come home. A very sad story, actually, one of our cats. And I was very worried. And then he turned out, we went to look for him this morning around the block, and he was on someone's roof at the end of the road. So we had to clamber into someone's back garden and carry him sort of caterwauling literally up the road. But he hasn't done anything unmentionable, so Joseph's cats are doing that. But just while Joseph is doing that, just another couple of films.
Actually, I'm done for the moment. I don't think Philby will get back to urinating for a while, at least.
Okay. Well, I'll just finish what I've just very quickly. Is Queens of Evil, which is like an Italian kind of fairy tale horror movie. I kind of guess hippie horror movie, which is really, really good. Actually, I really enjoyed it. Have any of you seen it?
No.
From the early 1970, and it's kind of like this kind of hippie guy, Ray Lovelock, who was in Living Dead at Manchester Morgue and various other Italian movies, kind of just happens to end up at this house with these three sisters who are all witches, and they're all very beautiful, and they've got loads and loads of different wigs. But you can tell, basically, he falls in love with them all and has sex with them all, and then it all goes horribly wrong. But that's worth seeing. The last one I saw was Arrow's Zombie Flesh Eaters, the new Arrow Blu-ray release of that, which has just come out, which is obviously no Zombie Flesh Eaters in the UK and a zombie in the States. And the Blu-ray is fantastic. It looks amazing. The only slight problem with it was that it got accidentally sent back, because I get Love Film, which is kind of one of those DVD postal things, and somebody who will not be mentioned posted back my brand new Zombie Flesh Eaters Blu-ray to Love Film yesterday.
Oh, so you actually owned Zombie Flesh Eaters?
I did, yes, but they posted it back in lieu of the actual DVD that was meant to go back. So now I'm trying to get back my Blu-ray from Love Film.
Ooh.
But anyway, that's
somebody's in the doghouse or cat house, as it is in your case.
Indeed, yes, with the other four cats. So, well, that's our recently seen. I think it's time to get on to our Christmas crackers, which is our cheesy dialogue scenes. What do you reckon?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Joseph, would you like to go first?
Are you cleaning up more?
I will take that as a yes.
Sorry, I had to shoo the cat out. What was the question?
Okay. The question
you want to
is.
go first.
The question is
in the top three.
Well, you're going first anyway, Joseph. Here's your number
just
3.
do it.
No, Dexter, wait, Dexter, wait, think. It doesn't care about you. When it's finished with you, what will it do with you?
Kill me. I hope.
Declan, for the love of God.
Get upstairs, fuckface. I can't keep God waiting.
Joseph, what was that?
That was from Rawhead Rex. I picked that sequence because I think the Declan character is extremely over the top with his kind of foaming at the mouth delivery. And I think Rawhead Rex is a good movie trapped inside of a terrible movie anyway, so that's another reason why I picked it. But yeah, there you go. That scene is from Rawhead Rex.
And I think fuckface is one of the best insults.
Get upstairs, fuckface. I can't keep God waiting. It's a good one.
Well, thank you, Joseph. Any comments on that, Erik?
Great piece of dialogue. I unbelievably has still never seen Rawhead Rex, which is a shame because it's shot in Ireland. So yeah. I'm pretty sure that somebody I used to work with is in the film. So I must seek it out.
Okay. Right, yeah. Well, I haven't seen it I haven't seen it since it first came out. How about you, Nathan?
I've seen it. It's been, it's been a couple of years, but I really like the movie a lot.
Cool. Okay. Right. Well, thank you, Joseph. Without further ado, let's go on to Nathan's number 3.
Take turns. There's a wish for everyone.
What a bunch of shit.
Uncle Impy will ignore that remark, but he'll remember it.
What was that from?
That's from the classic Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama. And I really love that movie. That was back when David Dakota was actually trying to make a movie. Now his movies, they don't seem to have a lot of story to them. And, this one actually seemed to try to have a story, and it was actually really entertaining. And that was Linnea Quigley. And actually, I met her at Monster Mania not too long ago, and I had her sign my autograph. What a bunch of shit.
She's quite... What's she like in real life? I mean, she's...
Oh, she's awesome. She was very nice and friendly and just very, her line was one of the longest ones there, but she didn't rush anybody. She actually talked to me for, probably a good, good 5 minutes or so, just about that movie and Return of the Living Dead.
Okay. Oh, no, I've heard she's really nice. So, cool. What about you, Erik? Are you a fan of that movie? Have you seen that
I've never seen the movie, but isn't that one of the ones that's coming out on 88 Films on DVD and Blu-ray in the UK? I think it is.
I think it is, yeah.
But no, I've never seen it, no.
Okay, what about you, Joseph?
Come and get me. Fucking asshole.
That's not like a cat.
Sorry. I thought it was an appropriate joke.
Well, actually, I didn't get it, so...
No, neither did I.
You didn't hear it?
We can't hear your stuff lately.
It was fighting with a cat.
Oh. What you
See, listen.
Not gay.
Stop it!
Yeah.
Joseph.
Can we get back to the actual show?
No.
Go on, Joseph. Okay, what are you?
I like Nathan's pick. It's a movie I didn't really like until I watched it a couple of times, but I think it's got a lot of good humor, and I like his Uncle Impy will remember it remark. I think it's funny.
Excellent. Right. Well, thank you, Nathan, for your number 3. Erik, here's your number 3.
What do you want? Why did you come here?
Why, just to visit you, Daniela. But since poor Fabian's death, I lost all faith.
Fabian. You liked Fabian, didn't you? Sure you did. You liked making love with him.
Daniela, what on earth are you saying?
Well, I saw you making love with Fabian. You were obscene. Disgusting. But you liked it. I like to make love too, you know. I wanted to make it with Fabian, not that other one. But you're the one who makes it with Fabian. I hate you! I hate you! You whore! You whore! Go fuck yourself! You dirty bitch! You! Get away from me, you hear? You whore! Oh, I don't want her to say... Get out of here! I don't want to see her! Get out of here!
Erik. Yeah? But again, one of Toya's finest roles.
I was going to say it was Joseph on a Saturday night, but that is from a 1976 Euro horror film called Werewolf Woman, sometimes known as Naked Werewolf Woman. It stars Anique Burrell as Daniela, who's that woman you just heard, and she's afflicted with a mild case of lycanthropy, which means basically she's a bit loopy and swears a lot. And she acts like a spoiled brat, which is, characteristics I love in my Euro horror films. And as you can hear from that clip, she's just jealous about the fact that she can't make love to her brother-in-law, Fabian. I remember seeing that on Mondo Macabro, who you just mentioned, actually, who released that DVD of Don't Open Till Christmas. They used to have a weekend TV slot on Channel 4, I think it was, and one week they showed Werewolf Woman. I think that was probably one of my first introductions to Euro horror, and I absolutely loved it. I just couldn't believe films like that were made. They're just absolutely delirious, but 100% entertaining. And also love the fact that the makeup in the film, like she's a naked werewolf woman, but basically it's don't expect Rick Baker effects. It's sort of Paul Nashy, just a bit of hair glued onto her face, and she runs around with her tits out, killing people. But Werewolf Woman, a favourite of mine. Not even a guilty pleasure, just a favourite.
She looks a bit like, at the end of The Howling, isn't it, where Dee Wallace turns into that kind of Chihuahua. She looks a little bit like that.
Yes,
very much cheaper.
Actually, yeah.
Much cheaper,
she does look like a Chihuahua.
Yeah. Yes, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, actually. I haven't seen it for ages, but I used to have it on video before I sold it, and it's I need to get hold of that again. But doesn't she? Because don't you actually see her vajayjay as well?
I haven't watched it for a while. I mean, I took the dialogue clip off it earlier in the week, but I'm sure you probably do. I mean, it is a European horror film from the 70s.
Well, I think doesn't she like frog around the fire and sort of pull her lips apart? Or is that a different film I'm thinking of? No, upstairs on her mouth. Erik, for goodness sake. Should we just move on to my number 3, I think?
Yes, I think so.
As for our combat plan, we'll follow Emergency Plan H, and we'll keep Plan B in reserve in case the situation gets out of hand.
Yes, and that's from Nightmare City, Umberto Lenzi's Nightmare City, and I just love that whole kind of, it was just kind of like, what are we going to say? Let's just make up a Plan H, and if that doesn't work out, we'll do Plan B instead, which you would have thought Plan B would have been higher up the pecking scale, wouldn't you, than Plan H?
You would.
But the whole of Nightmare City is obviously a cheesy delight. Everything from zombies invading a kind of Pan's People style dance-a-thon, TV dance-a-thon, to, well, everything about the movie is kind of gloriously bad, but in a very entertaining way. So yes, anything to say on that, or should we just move straight on to the cat?
Good choice, I thought.
Thank you. Well, Joseph, from one cat to another.
He's a cat. Are you dead?
What's that from then, Joseph?
That's from Maximum Overdrive.
Short and sweet.
Yes, that is Lisa Simpson, Yardley Smith, asking for her husband, who she, I guess, wants to know if he's dead. He's certainly going to answer if he says, yes, I'm dead. But I picked that because why would anyone, if they're dead, answer you? Why would you ask, are you dead? If the person is dead, they won't answer. But I don't know, Maximum Overdrive is a movie that is just full of, great dialogue and great silly moments. And I think out of all of them, that's probably one of my favorites, that are you dead? I don't know. I just love it. I love the whole film. It's a fun movie.
Yeah, indeed it is. It is. So, well, thank you for that. Is any comments on that, guys?
No, I used to love. I haven't seen Maximum Overdrive in over 20 years, but I do remember absolutely loving it and reading reviews that were absolutely slating it and not understanding why. I said, "What's not to like?" I mean,
it's a slasher film with the tractor trailers.
Yeah, and a Coke machine kills somebody, or a Pepsi machine. I can't remember which.
That's right, isn't it? That kind of a great shot of, isn't it, of the Coke can embedded in someone's head. I seem to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
excellent. I think Yardley Smith's character gets unfairly, people hate her character in the movie, but I really like her character.
I think she's
hilarious.
Yeah.
I was going to pick the Stephen King cameo where he says, "Honey, this machine just called me an asshole." But I think everyone always talks about that, so I wanted to go with the whole "Curtis, are you dead?" moment.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Joseph. And Nathan, it's your glorious number 2.
Oh, Mama, I love you so much. I need to feel you near me. I need to touch you. When I was a baby, you always used to hold me to your breast. I loved your breast so much, Mama.
Michael!
What's wrong? I'm your son.
Michael!
You.
Oh, that scene is so disturbingly gross. That's actually from Burial Ground, and that scene is probably one of the creepiest in the whole movie. Forget the zombies. I mean, just picture Peter Bark's character, Michael, like trying to molest his mother. I don't know. He's supposed to be a little kid, I think. But he basically is coming on to his mother, and for like a few seconds, she seems to be responding until she slaps him. I'm like, why is she making like weird, like moaning noises while like hugging her son? It's very weird and doesn't make much sense. And then, of course, later she actually does give him the breast. She makes the
mistake of giving in to him, yeah.
Yeah, she gives him the breast, and then he bites it off. So
I got to tell you, I would give my right thumb to do a commentary for that movie. I love Burial Ground.
It's fantastic.
It is so dementedly bizarre.
But Peter Bark is so creepy looking.
What is he? He's like a thing. He's not even a human.
He was 25 when he made Night of Terror. And I suppose he's supposed to be playing like an 11 or 12-year-old, is he?
Yes.
I think he's supposed to be a little kid.
It's weird.
Well, I've got a feeling Peter Bark might come up again in a minute. So, so let's go on to your number 2, Eric. Yeah.
Great, Sally. Honest.
Not true. My hair stinks. This dress stinks. Look. Look, the whole thing's disgusting. I mean, these sleeves that go back and forth. I told you. It's just... What am I going to do now?
We came to celebrate you, not your dress.
I know. Well, what about this, huh? Does this look okay? Does it look good? No, it looks awful. It's just...
Okay, Eric.
That's Justin trying to pick out clothes on a Saturday night as well.
Actually, I think it's probably more likely you, Eric, isn't it? So you know you like a good strop.
Yes, I knew this would come up. Apparently, that's me throwing a strop. Again, this is another strop-throwing woman as my number 2. It's Sally from Demons 2. It's basically her birthday party, and all her friends are outside in the living area partying away, dancing to Gene Loves Jezebel, and she's inside in the bedroom with her friend trying to decide what to wear. And personally, I would be a bit scared if I was wearing a top and the sleeves started going back and forth, because it's just not normal. My sleeves just normally sort of stay stationary. Obviously not a problem for the very over-the-top, moody, stroppy Sally. I just love her character. She's just... I can't imagine how she managed to have so many friends to come to her party when she's such an utterly moody cow.
I know.
Yeah. I think... I also love the fact that her playlist at her party consists of like the Smiths and Gene Loves Jezebel. So she's obviously kind of this moody teenager who's going through kind of this, I suppose, indie kid stroke goth phase, maybe. But, I mean, her character is utterly hilarious in it. And... I've always said this, the normal Sally and the demon Sally that she turns into quite early in the film are kind of indistinguishable, really. So that, Demons 2.
May I be controversial and say that I prefer Demons 2 to the first?
I actually agree with Joseph. I prefer the sequel.
Well, the sequel has got Sally, who is one of my all-time favorite characters, so, yeah.
I like the sequel. It's a lot cheesier, but
go ahead,
I like the sequel. It's a lot cheesier than the original Demons, and the original Demons is a little bit cheesy. But I mean, I think Demons is a better movie.
Yeah, Demons, it's a better film.
I think Demons is a better movie. Demons 2 is a much better soundtrack, though.
It's more entertaining. More entertaining, I'd say. More rewatchable, I would say.
To me, there's never a dull moment in Demons 2. I mean, the second one scene might start to get a little dull. They just shoot over to another one where some other group's getting attacked by the demons. And, of course, Bobby Rhodes is in both, and he's amazing in both movies.
I love Bobby Rhodes.
I think there's another moment in Demons 2 that I could have picked where a woman sort of crying says, I want to go home. I don't want the demons to get me. Which is fair enough, I think.
Yeah, well, of course. It's a shame they didn't sort of make the third one, isn't it? They kind of planned to do one on a plane, apparently.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
It would have been like Airport crossed with Demons. Which they did do. Well, they did one recently. What was that zombie film that was at the airport?
Flight of the Living Dead.
Flight of the Living Dead. Yeah.
Well, it's Flight.
Oh, Quarantine 2. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and Quarantine 2 as well. So but nice pick, Erik. And talking of Peter Bark, as we were.
I think this would look nice in the mantelpiece.
But it belongs to the professor.
Well, he did find it on our property, darling. After all, scientists should be above...
Mama. Yes, darling, what is it? Mother, this cloth smells of death.
Yeah, obviously not been using Persil or whatever. Yeah, Peter Bark in an earlier moment, well, maybe it was not an earlier moment, but another moment from Burial Ground, where I guess he's trying to warn them in some ways that the dead are about to rise because he's found some cloth that smells of death. So...
I love the voice they used to dub him.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yes.
So,
it doesn't even sound like an 11-year-old.
No.
I'm sorry, Justin.
No,
I just got giggled.
Well, no, that was... I think we should move on to our number ones now, Joseph, and this is your top cheesy pick.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, me too, but... You know, I'm really wired. What do you say I take you home and eat your pussy?
That was from Shark Attack 3, which is another one of those sci-fi channel-esque Shark Attack movies. And this one is pretty much, stays the course. It has pretty crappy dialogue, pretty crappy effects. But I picked that scene because the actors in that scene, the director was trying to get a reaction out of her with the actor's original line was supposed to be, what do you say, I take you home and make love to you? And he was trying to get her to have like a surprised reaction, but she just had this same face like over and over. So the director told the actor, with that line, say something that would get a reaction. So he said, what do you say, I take you home and eat your pussy? And she just kind of like, they got her reaction, and he's like, well, I'll decide to leave it in the film. And I think it's a really funny line. I think it's just kind of out there and kind of, what? Did he really just say that? So that's kind of one of the reasons I picked it.
Well, I think it's a bit sad that he was going to go home and eat her cat.
That's what I was going to say. There's nothing funny about eating a cat.
No.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
But also, of course, John Barrowman. Is it John Barrowman? The actor. He's gay as well, isn't he? So he must have been. I saw him interviewed on a chat show here in the UK a few years ago, and they played him that clip. And because he had quite a measure of success in the UK as part of Torchwood, which is like Doctor Who spin-off, and also some various kind of light entertainment shows and stuff in early evenings on a Saturday. But yeah, they played him that clip on a kind of a sort of late night chat show. But he was really laughing about it, so he saw the funny side. So yeah,
very
good choice, Joseph. Yes, well, Nathan,
thank you.
Would you like to hear your number one? I'm going to play it for you anyway.
Who?
Nathan.
Oh, right.
Oh, I didn't hear my name.
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
so here it goes.
Elliot, what kind of idiotic joke is this? You scared the shit out of me.
I'm the victim of a nocturnal rapture. I have to release my lowest instincts with a woman. Oh!
Release your instincts in the bathroom.
Are you nuts? You trying to turn me into a homo?
Wouldn't it be too hard? If my father discovers you here, he'd cut off your little nuts and eat them.
Sounds like your dad's a homo.
You
Is
missed
that from
off
out
the
of
end.
He
Africa?
can't
stand you.
Don't piss on her father's hospitality.
It's from Troll 2, which, oh man, I wish it was somehow close to a slasher so we could cover it, because that would be such a fun movie to discuss.
Maybe we could do a one-off episode, like once a year.
I think that would be a fun idea.
A non-slasher film. Once every 5 or 6 months, we pick one movie that's not a slasher film and we cover it.
Because a little segment like this, I can't discuss enough about this movie because it's full of ridiculous dialogue. But I don't know how her kneeing him in the groin is going to turn him into a homo.
Mm.
I'm not exactly sure what that's going to do.
Yes. And like I said, if her dad's going to eat his nuts, he sounds like the homo.
I just forgot to have the little clip on the end where she's like, he can't stand you. I love how she says that.
Gosh, that was I love that movie. actually, it's kind of funny because I think I may have said it before, but discovered Troll 2 many years ago, and used to have friends around to watch it before it got this kind of cult thing, which I'm sure you did as well. But it was kind of it's become such a big cult movie now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I only discovered it when MGM brought out Troll 1 and 2 on DVD, which I think was just at the start of the big cult following first. So I can't really say I was on board from the start, I'm afraid.
Oh, Erik.
That's much, yeah.
Erik.
Yeah. Well, Erik.
I've loved Xanadu since the start, though. I'm still waiting for it to gain popularity.
It's never going to happen.
If we do that one-off thing, like once every few months, you can pick Xanadu and we can cover it.
Yay.
But you've been doing that anyway, Joseph, haven't you, with some of your choices?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, Mr.
Anyway,
Superstition.
I didn't pick Superstition.
No, I did.
No, that's what I'm
Justin
saying. I'm saying to Justin, Mr. Superstition.
That's close enough to a slasher movie.
Of course.
It's got a witch stalking people in the house. What more could you ask? Anyway,
Yeah, well, Xanadu's got Olivia Newton-John stalking people through song. No? Is that not close enough? No?
No. Well, actually, talking of true horror, have you seen the new video of Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta?
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, dearie me. Oh, dearie me.
And I know some people love Olivia Newton-John, and I won't have a word said against her, but isn't she starting to look a little bit like the Joker from Batman?
Oh, no, that's just mean. That is just mean.
Well, her mouth's getting wider and wider. It's like she's...
Are you sure you're not confusing her with Tina Turner?
No. But anyway, before we get in more trouble, here's your number one, Erik.
I'm not Lisa, you stupid pig. I'm not Lisa, and I never was Lisa. You prick.
Give us this day our daily bread.
There's your fucking daily bread. Eat it. Eat it like you did those horse cunts before you became a priest.
In the name of the omnipotent God, tell me who you are.
I am the asshole of the world. The primordial beast. I am the blood, the sweat, the sperm from the beginning.
Speak in the name of Christ. Who are you?
A whore. Like the ones you used to fuck.
Where do you come from?
From far away. From adultery. And from incest.
In the name of Christ, I demand you to speak. Who are you? Where do you come from? Where do you come from? Where do you come from?
From a cunt, you jerk.
That's Justin being interviewed on BBC Radio Bristol last weekend. Yeah.
After I've had a few
I just want to
shandies.
say I like the part where when she first goes off and then she goes, "Deliver us our daily bread," just calmly. Like it's nothing.
Well, I have to say,
I
have to say, I edited that down. That's actually sort of from various points throughout the film, so I had to edit them all together because I wanted as much sweary content as I possibly could get.
Yes,
you cheater.
We should warn you there will be swearing in this episode.
It's a bit late now.
I know.
That's, of course, that's Elkie Summer from House of Exorcism, which is the cut of Lisa and the Devil that was enforced upon Mario Bava by the producer Alfredo Leone because they were having such trouble selling Lisa and the Devil to any distributors, so they recut it as kind of an Exorcist clone, which of course meant putting Elkie Summer on a gurney and making her swear a lot and vomit and spew up toads and just say the most absurd things. And one of the greatest pleasures in life is Italian Exorcist rip-offs that feature completely over the top swearing, and I think it doesn't get much better than House of Exorcism. It just makes me laugh every time. Especially, I love lines like "I am the asshole of the world," and also where the priest asks her where she's from, and she says, "From a cunt, you jerk."
That's a
with
very
apologies,
good pick.
with apologies to anyone who's offended by such strong language.
Mm-hmm.
I know,
I wonder
jerk.
if Disney will pick us up.
Yeah, too fucking late now, Erik, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is rated G for general audiences.
Yes.
Well, that's what. Thank you, Erik. And I did a similar thing with my pick, which is very predictable, but mine is.
Get off the bike. Get off the bike. Step away from the bike.
Yeah.
How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned? How'd it get burned?
I don't know! What is it? What's wrong, sister?
Don't be frightened. Go. My name is Edward. I'm gonna save you.
This is murder! Murder! You'll all be guilty! And you're doing it for nothing! Killing me won't bring back your goddamn honey! Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Open my eyes! My eyes! Ah! Ah!
Believe it or not, that man won an Academy Award once.
He did. It's
did.
Nicolas Cage
Yes.
in the remake of The Wicker Man, which Outside the Cinema, which is another stellar podcast which I listen to regularly. They're always playing clips from that, and it's I still can't get my head around how they remade The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage and him running around punching women in the face and dressed as a bear. And I love the bit at the end where he's obviously method acting, swallowing a bee, isn't he, or pretending to swallow a bee. But
I still think "Step Away from the Bike" is one of the all-time great cinema lines.
Yes.
Step away from the bike.
I would have loved to have been in the audience at the premiere of that movie, and then sort of when everyone's in reverence, because wasn't it directed by somebody who's quite kind of arty, wasn't it? Can't remember his name.
Is it Richard Linklater? I can't remember.
No, it was. He does a lot of plays and stuff, I think.
Yeah, while you're looking that up, but it was just kind of, you imagine being in the audience at the premiere, thinking this is going to be quite a reverent sort of remake of The Wicker Man by
Neil LaBute. Neil
LaBute, that's it.
Pinch poke, you owe me a Kit Kat.
Yeah. And then you get that. I wonder, there wouldn't have been a dry eye in the house, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
People laughing so much. But yes, well, I hope you enjoyed our cheesy...
Do you have my token zombie creeping flesh clip there, Justin?
I do, yes.
This was one that was bubbling under, kind of in the top of the pop style here.
It's a bonus clip.
She may not know much about chemistry, but in bed her reactions are terrific.
I'm not surprised with that cute little lass.
I'm a tit man myself.
Now, the reason I didn't include that in my top 3 was because I thought it was too short, but then I realised a lot of you were using quite short clips, so it would have made my top 3 if I'd known you were going for short and sweet.
Well, yeah. But I think that was a nice one. It was, you didn't want
just
to
anything from European horror from the late 70s, early 80s. It's just a smorgasbord of cheesy dialogue. Yeah.
Exactly. And are we keeping your other clip for later?
No, I can we play the other clip now, because I meant to play it during Recently Seen, because it's kind of a recently heard. I'm a big fan of the early 80s band Soft Cell, and they have a song called Martin, which is actually based on the film of the same name by George Romero.
I like that song.
Yeah, but they have you might know this then. I only realised this recently. I've been listening to the song for 10 years, and I only realised that they sample something we'd all know and love in the intro to the song. So if you play it there, Justin, see if you can recognise the sample. Okay, it wasn't that clear.
Noticed that.
Sorry?
I never noticed that.
Yeah, it probably wasn't that clear in my headphones, but in case you didn't get it, it's sampling Betsy Palmer saying "Mother is talking to you" from Friday the 13th Part 2. And if you remember, ages ago on the podcast, I said I was reading an old Smash Hits magazine, which is a UK pop magazine from 1981-82, and they asked Mark Hammond, the lead singer of Soft Cell, what his favourite film was, and he said Friday the 13th Part 2. So there we go. Yeah.
Okay.
I always thought it was a shame that Soft Cell was basically just remembered for that one song.
I know, and it's not in any way their best song at all. They have some great stuff.
Not.
Yeah. Do you like Soft Cell, Justin? Because I know in their last 2 albums they turned kind of darker and Depeche Mode-y, so I'm wondering if you like them.
Well, I prefer the early 80s stuff. I don't really know their... Oh, do you mean the
well, they had 3 albums and they were all 81 to 84, so...
Oh, right, yeah. No, I mean, I only really know the singles, but I really like the, Memorabilia and, was it Dan and Subway or whatever, and Numbers and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I do really like them, so...
Yeah, so we found a fellow horror fan in Mark Hammond.
Indeed, thank you. So, and Mark Hammond's had plenty of things in him.
Yes, horrific happening to him. Involving stomach pumps, yeah.
Yeah, stomach pumps. But that was one of those tales that went around the school playground.
Urban legends, yeah.
Urban legends, but then he kind of didn't. I remember seeing he had there's a picture of him on a grave with a vacuum cleaner, wasn't there? As a reference to that, I think.
See, but Eric, did you also know that "Tainted Love" was not actually their song?
Yes, I know.
It's an obscure 1964 Northern Soul track sung originally by Gloria Jones.
I did. Gloria Jones was killed in the same car crash as Mark Bolan, I believe.
Yeah.
Wasn't she?
It's written by Ed Cobb of the Four Preps.
Didn't know. Wasn't she? She's driving, wasn't she? She didn't die.
Oh, did she not drive? Well, she was in the car anyway, wasn't she? Yeah.
Well, she was. Didn't she? Was she married to Mark Bolan? Because Mark Bolan died, but I think he was the only one who died in the car, and
right.
She was driving. So tainted love indeed.
Yeah.
But okay, well, I think it's time to get on to our feature presentation. So we haven't got a trailer for Home for the Holidays, but I have cobbled together a little something as an intro for Nathan's pick of the fortnight.
The movie of the week. Presenting the world premiere of an original motion picture produced especially for ABC. Tonight on the movie of the week.
Drop that glass, Freddie. Killed. Murdered. Murderer! No suicide. No suicide. He killed her! Freddie, you're gonna bleed to death.
Four sisters return home to the country to visit their ailing father over Christmas because their father believes that his current wife is slowly poisoning him to death. It's, kind of up in the air as to whether the sisters believe him or not. I'd say for the most part they don't, but someone armed with a pitchfork is around the property and does proceed to start killing off the family one by one. And I saw this movie a long time ago when I was a kid, and I really loved it back then. So, obviously my opinion hasn't changed on it because I still love it today. I think that it has amazing acting. Like, everyone in the movie does a fantastic job in it. And actually, Sally Field is really likable as the kind of the final girl in this movie. I love her. Kind of her stalking sequence where the killer with the pitchfork is stalking her through the woods and she has to hide. And it's a pretty tense scene when she's hiding, kind of in this little hole in the ground, and the killer's feet are right there at eye level with her, and the killer smashes the pitchfork into the ground. It's actually a really good scene. And overall, I think the movie does a really good job of, kind of keeping you interested, even though, it kind of has a little bit of a slow pace, but yeah, I love this movie very much, and I would like to hear what Justin thought.
Well, yeah, I really enjoy the film. It is very melodramatic, isn't it? I mean, it's a kind of typical movie of the week, I kind of guess. I mean, we in the UK we kind of got bits and pieces of these kind of movies of the week. I don't remember it playing on TV here, but certainly films such as like Don't Open to Christmas, Don't Go to Sleep, they sort of played on TV here, and I saw them, but I would have been about 3 when this movie came out, so maybe it did play on TV here, but I saw it on video quite a few years ago, and I think it stands up really well. I really like films from that era, the early 70s, and TV movies as well, and I think it's got a really good calibre of actor and actress in it. And it was kind of, I hadn't seen it for a number of years, so when I watched it this morning, I kind of remembered who the killer was, but I wasn't entirely sure, so I won't spoil it at the moment because we'll get onto that a little bit later, but I really liked the fact that you've got obviously the proto slasher element in there, and the kind of the killer in the rain slicker with the pitchfork with the hidden face really does nod towards the later slashers, and certainly like the scenes of Sally Field running through the trees and through the woods to escape the killer. You can see why she was approached, or they wanted to cast her as Alice in the original Friday the 13th. Because I think she screamed really well, and she kind of, she was really likable and kind of and it has a great ironic ending. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, as you say, Nathan, there are bits of it that's slowly paced. It's not a kind of thriller minute slasher movie by any stretch. But if you're a fan of TV horror movies and any kind of interest in proto slashers and seeing how the genre came together, then it's definitely worth a look. So.
Well, thank you very much, Justin. And I'm glad you mentioned the ending because it reminded me of something I wanted to say right quick. And I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but I'm going to spoil the movie. So everybody, just so you know, I'm about to spoil it. But the killer turns out to be the older sister, Alex. And her speech at the end, if any of you watch my movie, The Gathering, I pretty much rip off this movie tremendously, all the way from the killer holding a pitchfork to the killer speech at the end. So, yeah, I admit I ripped off this movie. I can't deny. Even the music in the movie. I have a tape recorder, and I play the music from this film in my movie, too.
Is it set at Christmas, The Gathering?
No, it's set at the 4th of July.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was enough change that people may not notice, but now I'm kind of outing myself. Erik, what do you think?
Okay, well, I have a vague recollection of talking about Home for the Holidays on a previous podcast as part of my recently seen, and I think I dismissed it as being a bit throwaway and not enjoying it very much. But I have this terrible habit of sometimes watching films whilst pottering around, maybe doing a few other things, doing the washing up or something while the film plays in the background, which is a flaw of myself, I admit. So when I watched this for the second time, this time with my undivided attention, I actually really enjoyed it. It was very rewarding seeing it again. Now, TV movies aren't something I'm well versed in. I think you guys probably know more about this area of horror than I do. But I think they possibly, because of their nature, they demand more attention, and because they're usually much more low key. And that's especially true of Home for the Holidays. It's not the thrill a minute, horror of something like Friday the 13th. But, and this, what I'm about to say is an observation rather than a criticism of the film. It felt very much stagey. It felt like a play. There's lots of exposition that's delivered, through slightly clunky dialogue. People talk of other characters in the film by using their Christian surnames, and, they express their innermost thoughts in detail. So it felt a bit like it was a play translated onto the screen. But, I mean, as I said, that's not just an observation. I did enjoy the film. I thought Sally Field was terrific in the lead role. She is, I believe, in her mid-20s at this stage. So she's playing the baby of the family. And I think she does a great sort of final girl turn in the film. And, of course, we have Nathan, one of your favourites, Knots Landing stalwart, Julie Harris, as the big red herring in the film. She went on, of course, to play Lily May, which is Valine's mother in Knots Landing. That's what I remember her for. Of course, she was also in the original version of The Haunting. Justin actually mentions in his review on Hysteria Lives that the absence of snow in the film kind of robs it of its Christmassy atmosphere. And while I think the film is atmospheric, I don't find it that Christmassy in the same way that Black Christmas is, or the Black Christmas remake is. But I do think it's still a great movie. It's just, I think, as much of a cliche as snow is in Christmas movies, I think snow would have given it a more of a Christmassy feel. But I mean, that's a very small complaint. I think the cat and mouse chase between Sally Field and the killer, both sort of 2/3 of the way through the movie and at the very end, is quite good. And I love the rain slicker get up of the killer. It really reminded me of certain portions of Friday the 13th, where Mrs. Voorhees, before we know it's Mrs. Voorhees, can be seen going around in a rain slicker. So yeah, I was really impressed. As I said, it took a second viewing to really appreciate it, but I am glad I did give it that second chance because I did enjoy it.
Oh, thank you, Erik. Joseph?
Yeah, I like the movie a lot. I think some of the acting is a little melodramatic. But, I mean, it's a TV movie, so I'm not going to fault it for that. And, a lot of those were very melodramatic in the 70s. But like Erik said, I think you can set this movie pretty much any time of the year. I mean, it's not really, tantamount to Christmas because it's, it's a big rainstorm. But, you won't hear me complain because, I love rainstorms in horror films. So that's a plus. That's one on its side right there. I like the characters. I thought they were, pretty interesting and complex, and I think Sally Field did a really good job as the final girl. I thought the killer was kind of obvious. I mean, any seasoned viewer will see through the whole red herring, I think. And there are some slow spots, but like everyone else has said, I mean, you all three of you have pretty much said everything I want to say about the movie, except for the rain, which I do love. I think overall it's got a lot of those good thrills that kind of made up what a slasher movie would become later on in the decade and in the 80s. And a recommendation for me. If there's one problem, I think it's almost like it almost feels like it's too long, even though it's not a very long movie at all. Like I said, there's a lot of slow spots. I kind of wish they'd been excised a little more. Particularly this with the ailing father. I thought Walter Brennan was probably one of the. He's a good actor, but I thought in the film, performance wise, he was probably one of the worst performances in the movie. I thought maybe they could have toned down some of his scenes, but yeah, overall, I really like Home for the Holidays.
Oh, thank you, Joseph. I have to say that Amanda, who runs the Made for TV Mayhem blog. She brought up a really good point about this movie, which I never really thought about before. But all the daughters, they call them by their like nicknames, and all their nicknames are guys' nicknames. Like Frederica, they call her Freddie. Christine, they call her Chris. Alexandra, they call her Alex, and Joanne, they call her Joe. So I always thought that was interesting. Like all their names are female names, but shortened sound like guys' names, and that's what they call each other.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I was wondering if there was any significance, but I couldn't pinpoint any significance.
And it seemed like there was like a lot of animosity between the daughters and the father. I wonder if the father wanted boys.
That's what I got from it, yeah.
Oh, good thinking, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. I like I kind of got a kick out of a lot of the dramatic zoom-ins on a lot of the characters, especially the Alex character who turns out to be the killer. Every time she, opens her mouth, the camera zooms in on her like dramatically. I thought that was kind of humorous.
I really like
one of those dun 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 moments, sort of.
I was going to say I really like with the Alex character, the revelation at the end, where basically she's a really, really bad sister, isn't she? And
she's just tired of dealing with their bullshit.
Yeah, but most people just go, well, I'm not going to have anything else to do with you, or just meet you at Christmas or something. But she decides to kill all her siblings, which is a little bit
extreme. They must have been really bad. They must have been really bad siblings.
That's quite extreme, isn't it? But at the end of the movie, I really liked because she thinks she's got away with it, and basically she's blaming Julie Harris as the evil stepmother who the father thinks has been poisoning her, but in fact he's got completely the wrong end of the stick. And when she comes into the house with the police and she sees Julie Harris at the top of the stairs, and she looks up at her and and the police can't see her because they're behind her, and she gives a little smile at her as if like, I've got away with it. And of course she doesn't, but I just love that kind of the way, those little nuances. Although the thing that I didn't, and maybe, the thing that got me was right at the end of the movie, Sally Field's in bed, and she's not, Alex has left her for dead, but she's actually survived because this kind of peripheral character, this kind of doctor character has just turned up, and he actually saves her. But when Alex goes in, I think they say, she's in that room, and I think Alex just thinks she's dead and she's going to look at the body, but then Sally Fields opens her eyes, and I was thinking, if they knew that she was a killer, like by that point, why would Julie Harris and the doctor let her go in with Sally Field?
That's a good point. It's a long shot, but maybe Sally Field was unconscious the whole time, and she just happened to coincidentally open her eyes then, and they didn't know that Alex was the killer yet.
Possibly, yeah. But then the police rush in and grab her, don't they? As if they've just been told, actually, we think she's the killer. But I don't know. It's kind of nitpicking, but
it's a good point, though.
It's just a bit kind of they do that. So it's just for a dramatic effect, isn't it? It's kind of basically this woman is an insane killer. Let's just have her go and talk to the woman who's been half killed by her and leave them alone for a minute so they can have a quick chat and she can kill her. It's kind of a little bit daft, but yeah. No, the other thing I thought was kind of weird was with Sally Field when she finds the dead body, which I think was probably one of her other sisters, maybe the one Jill Hayworth was playing. And she falls over and she puts her hands on, quite gruesome for a TV movie, wasn't it? Falls over and puts her hand out and touches the dead hand. And then also it looks like the dead face as well in the mud. And one of her hands is really muddy. And she puts it up almost into her mouth, doesn't she?
When she's screaming. I always wondered about that too.
Because it's a strange reaction is that you've just put your hand on a dead face of your sister and you're not then going to lick your fingers, are you? Presumably.
I love the sister, the sister that's kind of painted to be the slutty sister, Jo. I really liked her because I love her dialogue with the father. It's right out of a soap opera because it's like, he says something to her like, I stopped counting your husbands. And she was like, well, so did I, after I realized you didn't have to marry them to sleep with them. And he's like, well, as I remember it, you found that out in junior high school. It really is right out of a soap opera.
Yeah.
That dialogue is.
And I really like the drunken sister as well. I could
relate to her. Yeah, I know.
Oh yes, of course you could.
What?
And she was the bad girl in Play Misty for Me.
Okay,
so she was excellent in that movie too.
Yes, yeah.
And did you, Jill Hayworth? You know what slasher movie she was in the same year?
No, you have to tell me.
It was Tower of Evil. The horror of Snake Island.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
She had a bigger role in that, but she was in the Brit slash movie Robin Asquith, which was a really really good fun, which I'd like to cover at some point on the podcast in the future. But yeah, she was in that, and she didn't do well. It's coincidental. She was in both these movies in 1972.
I have to say, I really liked Julie Harris in this movie too. I mean, she's kind of got a lot against her. I mean, the whole family, even if they don't believe the father that she's trying to poison him, they don't really like her regardless. Like the only one that seems to treat her even semi-decent is Sally Field's character. She's the only one that seems to give her like any kind of niceness in that whole movie. But I like Julie Harris's character because she's not one to be, I guess, talked down to or anything. Like the scene at the dinner table when, she's pretty much letting them know that if she gets accused of killing, that she's not going to be the one that wakes up screaming the next time. I know. Well,
I think because it was kind of left in the open, really, about whether she did really kill her first husband, didn't she? Because she said the grand jury, because Sally Field's character says, well, maybe he killed himself, and she said that's what the grand jury thought. And then you have to ask yourself, why did he kill himself if he was married to her? So there must be some, something going on there. But I can guess with these films are written pretty quickly, I imagine, weren't they? And of course, it's written by, was it Joey Stefano, wasn't it? Was it Joe Stefano or Joseph Stefano?
Yeah, the same guy who did Psycho.
Psycho, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so... But it's had all the
and he did the screenplay for Psycho 4, The Beginning.
Okay, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And The Kindred. Sorry, another one of my favourite 80s movies.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I like The Kindred.
With artwork by Graham Humphreys, who I was talking about in my recently seen.
Exactly. I like the artwork too.
Yeah.
There we go.
Is there kind of anything else you want to say about it, Nathan, or did you have to talk a little bit about background? There's probably a great deal that we know.
There's not a whole lot of background. I guess the only other thing I was going to say is I really liked the final shot of the two surviving sisters staring at each other. Mm-hmm. I thought that was well done because by that time I think we're led to believe that Alex is pretty much gone all the way around the bend because now she's peaceful at the end with this like crazy like smile on her face. I guess she went completely insane.
Yeah.
With Walter Brennan playing the grandfather, I was a little disappointed there wasn't a whole, you're all a bunch of trollops, every gall darn one of you.
He could have said it to Joe.
Yeah, well, he didn't do that whole every one of you kind of remark. He does that in every one of his movies, like every gall darn one of you. I was expecting it, but I was disappointed.
Have any of you ever had warm milk and honey?
No.
Because she says that in the movie. She's like, She's like, I brought her warm milk and honey to help her sleep, and I've never really heard of that before.
Warm milk does help you sleep, though.
I've never heard of it mixed with honey.
Well, they do sing about milk and honey in... What's that song they sing at the start of Friday the 13th? Is it... milk and honey on the other side. Hallelujah.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. I've got milk in my honey.
Milk in your what?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
it's,
I guess that's all we got. We're home for the holidays. Excellent movie.
Well, I've got a little bit of background. Has anyone else got background?
I'd say it's a between good and great, but I wouldn't say it's excellent.
I would say it was
the same.
excellent.
Okay.
I would say it's just below excellent, I'm afraid.
I'd say it's good. Good.
Every movie is excellent.
Yeah, I would stick by my 4 out of 5 sort of review on Hysteria Lives. I think it's definitely worth checking
I would
out.
give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay. Well, has anyone got any background on the movie?
I've only got one thing. It comes back from what we talked about earlier, and I got this from the IMDb actually, because it's, we mentioned the snow, and basically because of the tight shooting schedule and low budget, they couldn't afford to have snow created. So they instead used the cheaper route of just having rain. And actually it says a fire hose had to be used to create the rain for the outdoor scenes, which is why in some shots the sky is obviously clear even though it is supposed to be raining.
Yes, that becomes obvious in certain scenes, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just a couple of bits. The director John Llewellyn Moxey, he also directed a film that I hear a lot about but I've never seen, called The Night Stalker, about a Los Angeles newspaper reporter investigating a series of murders committed by a vampire. He also directed one episode of the I think it's the longest running soap opera in the world, which is Coronation Street. He directed it in its second year in 1961, so quite a long time ago. Elaine Parker, who plays Alex, the villainess of the film, she was in The Sound of Music as the Baroness. And of course, the film is produced by one of the producers is Aaron Spelling, who put his penis into his wife's vagina, and they spawned Tori Spelling, the glorious Tori Spelling from Beverly Hills 90210. So we have to thank him for that. I thank
the
him for
very
that.
same.
Yes. Yeah. And the production company ABC Circle Films also produced the wonderful made-for-TV anthology film Trilogy of Terror. So that's about all I have.
Okay, well, thank you. About you, Joseph? Have you got anything?
I don't know if this is true. I just read this somewhere once, but they had to delay filming for I think a week because Sally Field had nearly shattered her ankle running in one scene.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Nearly shat herself.
No. What did you think I was going to say, Eric?
I don't think she shot herself.
Oh my God.
Nearly shattered her ankle. Okay. But I don't know if that's true or not. But that's just what I read.
Oh, Eric. Well, thank you, Joseph.
You're a dirty boy, Eric.
He is a dirty bird.
Go sit in the corner.
Is Santa not
no Kit Kats for you. No Kit Kats for you for a week.
Yeah.
What about Santa? Is he going to bring me presents?
No. Yeah, a lump of shat.
I don't think Santa's going to be emptying his sack in your house anytime soon.
He's not coming this year.
So the guy that wrote this movie also wrote Psycho.
Yep. He didn't write Psycho. He did the screenplay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The screenplay, not the book. Okay. Got it.
Well, I've got a couple of little bits from also about the director John Llewellyn Moxey. He also directed No Place to Hide with Kathleen Bella in 1981, which is a kind of a really good TV kind of semi-slasher movie. With a high school student being stalked by somebody in a mask. Well, I think either a mask or a hood or a balaclava helmet. Have any of you seen that? No Place to Hide.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember much about it? It's a TV movie, but it takes a lot of the early 80s slasher sort of elements and wraps it up into a TV movie. In much the same way as a film like Deadly Lessons or something like that did. So it's slasher movie light, but Kathleen Bella was also in Are You Alone in the House or Are You in the House Alone in 1978. He also directed a film which sounds really interesting and I've not seen, but I'd like to see, called Killjoy or AKA Who Murdered Jay Morgan, a game from 1981, which stars as an early role for Kim Basinger. And it's supposed to be quite an interesting film. Has any of you seen that?
No.
Never heard of it.
No. Okay. That would be worth. I don't think it's slasher
Might have
movie,
to do
but
some investigative searching on it.
I've got a feeling. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's kind of. I think Kim Basinger's murdered in it, and then it's a kind of lots of flashbacks or something, trying to work out who killed her. But it's supposed to be quite a good film. The only other bits of trivia I've got is that it was shot in California. It doesn't really look like California, does it? It was shot on the 20th Century Fox studio lot. But it's with all that rain, it's not like what you imagine, California sunshine is. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got, unfortunately. Apart from, of course, I wonder whether... Do you think Sally Field would have made a good Alice in Friday the 13th?
No. Judging from this movie, I think she would have been, good in the role.
She might have been a bit long in the tooth by that point, mightn't she? She would have been...
Yeah. I don't know if she could play like a teenage camp counselor or, early 20s camp counselor.
But,
There's only one Adrienne King, sorry.
Well, no, but Adrienne King, she's iconic in that role now, so I can't really picture anybody else, but...
And was it just right that they wanted to get Sally Field, but they couldn't afford her?
That sounds about right for the time, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say she would have accepted anyway, regardless of price, because she was at her peak then, I think.
Yeah, she's starting to become, what's the word they want to use? Legitimate?
Legitimate, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's Home for the Holidays. Anything else you wanted to say, Nathan?
Not really.
Okay.
Watch out for the pitchfork.
Watch out for the pitchfork, indeed, yes. Well, thank you for choosing that, Nathan. And I think maybe we should move on to some feedback, because we've got quite a lot to cover this episode, I believe. Who would like to go first?
Me.
Okay, go on. You go for it, Nathan.
Okay. This is from our loyal listener, Reese Donald. It says, "Hey fellas, Reese here again. I just finished your Scream episode, and at 4:30 a.m. have the urge to watch it. As usual, you folks did an incredible job and succeeded in making feel old at the age of 19 by pointing out Scream's rapidly growing age. Reese, you feel old at the age of 19? Oh, Lord. Just writing in to let you folks know that because of your various recommendations, my Christmas this year shall be awesome with 24 DVDs coming my way, including such Hysteria recommended or Savage titles as Rush Week, Next of Kin, Houseboat Horror, The Night Brings Charlie, and the Nathan recommended Demented. So thanks, fellas. And as a side note, can I just say Demented? I love that movie. Okay, looking forward to your Home for the Holidays episode and shall see it shortly, as Nathan has promised to get in touch with the baby Jesus for me. You guys are awesome. Keep it up. Oops, sorry, Reese. P.S. Thank you, Justin, for giving me my new catchphrase. Oh, you're awful, but I like you. From Dick Emery while I was listening to past episodes. Please bring this soundbite back.
Oh. Well, I'll see if I can have a little rummage. Where is he?
So he's getting a DVD of Houseboat Horror for Christmas. Like a DVD? Is this another...
It might be a bootleg.
Is this another It's Released in Dublin type job?
It might.
Have you seen Houseboat Horror, Eric?
Oh, I have, yeah. It's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Yeah. It's very unique.
We're going to definitely have to review that, aren't we, on the on the show at some point?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's on my list.
We thought as much, yeah.
Yeah, well, carry on, because I think we'll carry on, literally carry on, because I can't. Sorry.
I was just going to say another one that's on my list, just so you guys are fully aware. At some point in the time, Terror at Tinkiller.
Wow, we know that as well.
Yeah. Not sure if I can get quite as excited about that one.
Yeah. Listen, Leslie, we've got some serious talking to do.
Hey, babe, we got to talk. You and me, we got to go away for the weekend.
You guys are going to love it, trust me.
I'm not 100% sure on that, Nathan.
No. I'm 100% sure I won't love it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, who wants to go next? Because I don't think I can find my dick.
Goodness.
Yeah, that's a common complaint with.
Here, I'll do it for you. You're awful, but I like you.
That's very good, actually. I'm sure I can find it in a minute. So.
Excellent. Well done, matron.
Well, it seems a little bit rickety, Doctor.
Is it? Yes, but of course it's fairly easy to get it up. It's getting it to stay up. That's what counts.
There you go. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, well,
I'll
I've got
have a
some
rummage.
feedback. Okay, well, I've got some feedback, and it's quite a long one, Justin, so you have plenty of time. It's from our friend Sebastian Bokenkamp in Germany. He says, hello again, Justin, Erik, Joseph, and Nathan. Once again, I'd like to congratulate you on your wonderful shows. You guys keep getting better and better with each episode. Thank you so much for the great entertainment and for introducing me to the magic of Kenneth Williams, who we just heard. On Halloween time, I watched Halloween and its sequel, Halloween 2. Halloween is to this day my favourite movie of all time, but I have to admit that I never got very fond of Halloween 2. I keep watching it every year in hopes that one day I might enjoy it as much as many other slasher movie fans, but I guess this will never happen. The overall feel of the movie is, in my opinion, so different, and although it takes place in the same night as the first one, it feels like a completely different film. I found many of the hospital characters to be very dull and boring, and the setting itself a bit monotone. I have no problem with the hospital setting in general because I liked Visiting Hours and Cold Prey 2 very much, but I always liked the suburban atmosphere from Halloween 1 much more than the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. For me, Halloween 2 feels more like any other generic 1981 slasher movie, and I prefer The Prowler, Happy Birthday to Me, and of course, My Bloody Valentine. I also watched Fatal Games, which was kind of entertaining. What always makes me laugh in slasher movies is that from the moment the killer is unmasked, his or her entire personality is changed completely. Rebecca Gayheart style, or in Fatal Games' case, even the killer's voice. Although the movie was incredibly cheesy, I have to admit that the killer's distorted voice was kind of creepy. Like last time, I want to give you an idea for a future top 3. How about a top 3 best slasher movie undertones? What I mean by that is that although many people consider the slasher movie to be a very dull genre, many fans discover a distinctive undertone in some of these movies, most notably the homosexual undertone in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Maybe each of you can come up with 3 movies that you think there is more to these movies than just an endless killing of teenagers. And finally, I'd like to recommend another movie to you, which is very dear to me and one of my most favourite movies of all time, although many people have never heard of it because it's quite unique. From what I know, all of you guys are fans of serial killer movies, of course, and are very fond of our feline friends, the cats. So how about combining these things? There's a German movie called Felidae, I think it's pronounced, and you could basically describe it as a David Fincher's Seven, A Silence of the Lambs, with cats. It's a 1994 hand-drawn animated movie for adults, and it's absolutely brilliant. The movie is about a cat called Francis, who moves with his owner, who are referred to as can openers by the cats, to a new home. On his first day, he discovers that one of the neighborhood cats was brutally murdered. He befriends 2 cats called Bluebeard and Pascal, who reveal to Francis that the dead body was only one of many killings that happened in the past weeks. A religious cat cult believes that their prophet Claudandus is responsible for those killings and is sending them a sign, but Francis and his friends believe that there may be another story to this. Together, the 3 of them try to stop the serial killer before he finds another victim. The movie is just incredible. The animation is brilliant, the story is suspenseful, and many of the surreal dream sequences are borderline terrifying. Sadly, the movie did very poor at the box office because many people thought that it was a kids' movie, but it's definitely not. It is shockingly brutal and gory and contains very strong language. You just have to see this movie. It is amazing, and I'm sure you'll like it. There is an English dubbed version of the movie, but the dubbing is not very good. Oh yeah, and the theme song is sung by Boy George, and it's called Felidae. Felidae. So carry on with your great work, matrons, and have a nice week. And greetings from Germany, Sebastian Bokenkamp. So has anyone heard of that cat movie he's describing? No,
what
neither
was it
have
called? What was it called?
It's called Felidae, I think is how you pronounce it. It's Felidae. But the theme song is sung by Boy George. Yeah. An animated cat slasher film. Sounds intriguing.
That sounds right up our...
Watch that.
Right up your passage, doesn't it, Erik?
It sounds right up my passage. Yeah.
No, so I shall. Well, let's try and make. Let's see if we can watch it before the next podcast. Maybe we can talk about it then, because that sounds very intriguing.
I'll see if it's been released in Dublin.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And you could take
Is that new euphemism for baby Jesus talk? It's been released in Dublin.
Oh no!
I think maybe it is, Eric. I think maybe it is. But it's a shame, Sebastian, that you can't find that love for Halloween 2.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
I mean, but both of us just saw it first, so I guess probably that's why we love it so much.
I think that is probably correct.
I'm not sure why I love it so much. I just do.
I think it carries over some of the atmosphere of the first one into it.
No, definitely, I do as well. But yeah, no, that was a nice long one. So thank you, Sebastian. Shall I go? I've got one here. Shall I? And this actually relates to what we've just been watching. And this is from who's this from? Hold on. It hasn't printed off who it's from. Actually, can someone else go next? Because I'm going to need to open.
Well, I have 3, so I'll read one of them while you're
okay. Yeah,
doing
sounds
that.
good.
All right, this one is from a good friend of ours, Cameron Perry. He says, "Hi guys, first things first, a hearty congratulations to all 4 of you for the fantastic Halloween/Halloween 2 and Scream podcasts. They were both fantastic shows, jam-packed with information, and you guys did a great job as always. Just wanted to make a slight correction on the Scream box office info. Not sure if it was Joseph or Nathan that mentioned that Titanic opened around the same time, but that wasn't the case. Scream 2 opened around the same time, and that was me, and I was wrong, so there you go. Scream's box office was noteworthy because its second and third weekends outgrossed the first. It was opening against films like Beavis and Butthead and Jerry Maguire, and its second weekend competition was the Travolta vehicle, Michael. Timing and good word of mouth had a lot to do with its success. Not sure who mentioned Ghoulies 3, but I absolutely agree it's a terrific film. Great prank-oriented fraternity hijinks and a cameo from Kane Hodder. Best of the series, although Part 2 has its moments. I was wanting to suggest a couple of perhaps slightly controversial or somewhat meaty, matron, topics for discussion if you guys have the time on future shows. First would be a discussion on slasher film violence from the devil's advocate point of view. Let's face it, these films showcase, sometimes without any other plot, a series of usually gory murders. What effect, if any, does this have on the psyche? Are slasher films responsible for real-life imitators? In quotation, he says, in brackets, he says, upon researching, there have been a few, including a Halloween 2-inspired real-life murder. And then he says, Google Halloween 2 murders, Richard Delmer Boyer. Is it healthy to be watching people getting murdered over and over again? Could be an interesting discussion piece. And then he goes on to say, also considering 3 of the 4 podcasters are gay, I thought it could be interesting to talk sexual preference and slasher film fandom. For a genre so blatantly sexist and misogynistic, the subgenre has a large section of homosexual fans, and I was wondering why this may be. Issues of body image, emphasizing with the final girl, outcast, not the usual society norm, etc. The way gay characters are portrayed in slasher films, I will leave the fleshing out to you guys. Just a nugget of an idea. Anyway, keep up the fantastic work, guys. So many great shows to come, I'm sure. In particular, looking forward to podcasts on Final Exam and Iced. I guess everyone has particular faves, and you guys are getting to them as quickly as possible. Again, keep up the great work. Cameron Perry.
Well, thank you, Cameron.
Thank you.
Yes, quite a...
He does bring up a good point about the violence and things. I mean, I know that's been covered in movies like Scream 2 and stuff, but I think it'd be a pretty good discussion.
I was trying to think of a right time to do that. I mean, because Eric, you'd like to get your hands around a meaty topic, wouldn't you?
I certainly would.
Yes,
it'd be good for if we ever did Maniac, because that movie was one of the worst that got butchered for violence.
And Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yes,
but I will repeat something that I did say before in the podcast, which is that I'm not really a big fan of what is called, quote, extreme horror. I prefer it to be more kind of, quote, again, fun, in this sort of Friday the 13th vein. So yes, I don't like a really serious tone and really graphic violence. I don't have a problem with graphic violence if it's in the right sort of context. If that is not a contradiction.
No,
I love
same
gory
here.
movies like Evil Dead and From Beyond, Reanimator, all that type of stuff. But if it
Well, I
gets...
think extreme horror, like anything, it's good in small doses.
But I think there's that kind of disconnect, isn't there, with watching films? Because, I mean, a lot of people grew up watching, years and years ago with, like, the Cowboys and Indians and just war movies. Like, my dad loved war movies when he was a kid, so it was kind of like, so lots of people being killed, and so it's kind of there are discussions about things, but I think it's that whole disconnect and being able to separate fantasy from reality, isn't it? And I think, to be honest, especially actually some of the films we watch now, like, I'm not so much Home for the Holidays, but of course it's got that disconnect because of the difference in time. 1972, it's very easy to, I can remember very clearly watching the original Friday the 13th for a couple of years or a year after it came out at the cinema on video, and of course back then it would have seemed very modern to me, whereas you watch it now and you've got, again, that disconnect because of the time. But even still, even then, it'd still be able to separate fantasy and reality. And I think there is obviously questions to be asked why some people like watching horror movies and violence against people, but I don't think it's because we want to see people being hurt, do we? I don't think that's the reason why I watch them. But yeah, no. So it's interesting topic. It also actually interestingly throws up that question about Halloween 2. Because we've I have to spill the beans now, but we've recorded a special quiz episode. It's just because which is going to be released after this. We've already recorded it, and one of the questions in it was actually on that Halloween 2 real life murder. So otherwise, if you listen to these in the right order when they're released, it will sound like we didn't know about it.
Yes, I noticed that as well. As soon as it was mentioned, I was like, that sounds vaguely familiar.
No, interesting stuff, Cameron. So, and I think we should touch on some of those other subjects, at a later point as well. So.
Well, as a gay man interested in slasher movies, I think it's as simple as this. I like kitsch, which is why I like things like Dirty Dancing, Xanadu, Footloose, that type of stuff. And I think slasher movies, for all their seriousness and scariness, for the most part, deliver a certain level of kitsch for me. Certainly something like Pieces would. And that's why I love them.
Yeah. But, I mean, that also, that kind of bad movie kind of thing also works whether or not you're gay or straight as well, doesn't it, for some people?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm sure we'll touch on that later subject. So, later time. So, no, thank you, Cameron. I've got the one I was going to read out, which was from I'm not sure if you pronounce it. I presume it's Seven or Kevin Moore, and it's actually in regards to Home for the Holidays. So he says, I saw Joseph's heads up about Home for the Holidays as more than a little intrigued. An ABC film of the week isn't your normal stamping ground, especially starring Sally Field. With my curiosity piqued, I thought I'd give it a go. It was the first appearance of the Pitchfork to dispatch Jill Hayworth when it suddenly clicked into place. I was genuinely surprised to see this in a TV movie from the early 70s. Before The Fork, I already thought this had been picked purely for the ever-awesome Julie Harris from the ever-scary The Haunting, who turns in an unsettling performance that keeps you constantly guessing her motives right till the end. A most excellent choice to cover. There you go, Nathan. It was a bit stagey in places, and I found the constant switching between night and sunny day outside hilarious, but this was balanced by some great moments of suspense and a very satisfying finale. Keep on keeping up with the good work, guys, and thanks for unearthing yet another diamond in the dirt. So thank you, Seven or Kevin. So we're kind of it's good to get a bit of feedback on the film already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, that was very, very nice, and I'm glad that I was able to pick a movie that people like.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a novelty, isn't it?
Yes, it
That's
is.
a bit mean.
Especially when you go with my next pick.
Oh no!
Oh no! What is your next pick?
Oh, don't worry. It's just going to be Boarding House.
Oh, it is going to be Boarding House. Okay, I'll be interested to finally see that. So, cool. Okay, who'd like to go next?
Well, I have two left, but Eric, don't you have some Facebook?
Yeah, I have some Facebook stuff.
Go ahead and
here.
read all that.
Okay, well, first of all, again, I'm not sure how to pronounce this name, and I don't think it's a real name, but forgive me if it is. Dakota Madrox Drobnicki, who said, I loved your episode on Fatal Frames, but I should let you know that there is indeed a soundtrack album out there, readily available on Cinemageddon and quite possibly elsewhere. And Dakota, thank you for that. I did actually look it up on Cinemageddon, and it is indeed there. And I think it was an actual official release as well, because it has like a DVD sleeve, printed there. I'm not sure I'm intrigued enough to download it. I certainly don't think Justin is. But it's nice to know that there was a soundtrack album.
What is this Cinemageddon you talk of, Erik?
It's a very reputable site where you can purchase movies.
Yeah,
okay.
It's
legally.
Yeah, it's like Amazon.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. Sounds great.
Yeah. Eben Chandler then went on to say, you were asking for suggestions for episode 50, which is our next episode, I believe. Am I right?
We've already picked it, so sorry for all the suggestions.
Yeah, well, how about Night Screams from 1987? Have any of you guys seen it? I remember owning a VHS of it back in the day and have vague memories of enjoying it. But man, the trailer reminds me of how dopey it was. And he actually included a YouTube link to the trailer. I don't think I've seen Night Screams, have I?
Oh, it's awesome.
I'm asking you. Night Screams isn't the one that includes them watching Graduation Day at the start.
That's it.
Oh, I have seen it then, yes. Yeah. I can't really remember much about it apart from that, but is it good?
I love it. It's so
entertaining.
It's got a huge body count.
Cool. Okay, well, Joshua Grattan, friend of the podcast, said, okay, so recommendations for a film to cover, Justin. How about Double Exposure, Absurd, Evil Judgment, Poor White Trash 2, Bloodsong, or Silent Scream?
Well, we know at least one of those is coming.
At least one of those is on the way. I won't say which yet. Double Exposure, I think, didn't we mention on the last podcast? I have the DVD of that. I think it's decent enough. I haven't seen Evil Judgment, I don't think, or Poor White Trash 2. I know for sure I haven't seen.
Evil Judgment's a good one would be a good one to cover because it's very little known, but it's quite a good. It's good.
Is it good? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. It's low budget, but it's good. I think it's Canadian sort of movie. Yeah.
Okay, Cinema Dumeep, who is Michael, says, hi again, guys. I have a question for the podcast. When did the word slasher become so synonymous with this particular type of film we love in the horror genre? Slasher films have been around a very long time, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on when you started to recognize and call them as such. Desperately yours, Meep, a.k.a. Dana Kimmel's Blue Sweater. So, Justin, I think I'm turning to you for this because you've written a book on the subject. Do you know when slasher was first coined?
I don't know exactly. I know there's a Joan Collins movie from the 1950s called The Slasher, which I don't think it was, wasn't about stalk and slash, but there's also the Italian movie from the Giallo that was renamed in the States The Slasher. It's a sex maniac. So I think the term slasher was kind of used in newspaper headlines, from relatively early on, with the idea of somebody who would go up, would kill or attack someone with a knife or a razor. So I kind of guess it's from that common usage that it kind of got adopted into the idea of a slasher.
But when I was movie. Started to watch horror films in the 80s, like Fangoria used to always refer to them as slasher movies. So the term has always been there, sort of, for me personally. So I don't know when it originated.
No. Well, it's kind of. I mean, I know it's because I've got the poster of that Italian movie from the 73 or something. So it was obviously being used back then. But I think, but then of course there were quite a few terms that were vying for attention or priority, weren't they? Like Ebert was dead teenager movie, stalk and slash, sort of. Terror movies, as they were called back then. So
the Spam in a Cabin, was that Joe Bob Briggs' description of them?
Or Spam in the Cabin?
Yeah. Does anyone else remember that term, Spam in a Cabin?
I do.
No?
Yeah. That was Joe Bob Briggs.
That's okay. Yeah. God, I thought I was making it up there for a second. Patrick Walsh, of course, Mr. Scream Queen's podcast himself. I think this is in reaction to us talking about Scream on the last episode, where I think we were saying that we weren't sure if Matthew Lillard went on to anything spectacular after appearing in Scream. He corrects us. He said, FYI, and I can imagine him wagging his finger, in a America's Next Top Model style. Matthew Lillard headlined in The Descendants last year opposite George Clooney. It was nominated for 5 Oscars. And then he says, courtesies adorably, then sits in the corner waiting for a biscuit. So I haven't
seen that movie because I don't care.
Yeah, I don't watch. I don't watch highbrow
Wag
stuff.
your finger at me.
And,
No, I like that.
Yeah.
Eric will give you a soggy biscuit later, won't you?
Yes.
Patrick?
Ew. BH Yasuda says, this is the final one. He says, I saw that picture of My Little Pony, which I think is something you put on Facebook, Justin.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, you must cover this. I didn't even know there was a My Little Pony movie.
I think there's been about a gazillion.
Oh, has there?
Well, it's because I get sent all these things with someone saying I'm bringing out a new movie, and they tend to be relatively horror based, and they're going, would you like to interview this person that no one's ever heard of, and blah blah blah, and they usually, if they were kind of a slasher movie, I'd probably think, oh, it'd be interesting to get them on, but they're not usually. They're kind of either some kind of $10 Twilight rip-off or something, and then someone's I just start getting sent all these information sort of emails about My Little Pony crystal meth rider of the crystal meth or whatever it was. It's some kind of, or the Crystal Palace or whatever, some kind of bizarre thing. I was just thinking, why the hell have I been sent this? And whoever sent it to me seemed to think I'd be very excited to get it, and they keep on writing to me and saying, am I interested in covering it? So
they know a lot about you, obviously.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it from me for feedback.
Okay. Well, I've got one more. And what about you guys? Anyone? I know we've got a voicemail.
I have two more, but go ahead and read yours and play the voicemail.
Okay. Is Nathan? Have you got anything?
No.
Okay. Patented no. But no, it's okay. This is, and I apologise in advance because I'm going to completely maul the pronunciation of his name. I think it's Georgie Frenk. Friends, and I do apologise, Georgie. That's a name. But this
Gorgeous
is
George. Just call him Gorgeous George.
Gorgeous George. Okay, and this is the one that starts with a legend, which Erik was most upset by. Greetings, gentlemen, and Erik.
Oh yes.
So not quite sure why Erik isn't a gentleman, but maybe we'll find out. It says, "Thank you for producing such a consistently entertaining show. I've listened to all your episodes, which takes some doing. My favourites are the Curtains Funeral Home, Fatal Games, and the Jali episodes. The other episodes all have merit to some degree. After recently listening to your episode dedicated to The Prowler, I was disappointed to hear that none of you have the Blu-ray. I know that you've mentioned other films, special effects lose their effectiveness with enhanced picture quality. The Prowler, however, does not fall into the category. On the contrary, the gore looks absolutely stunning in HD, and the film retains a signature of its grainy aesthetic. It's like having a personal film print, a definite must-own. For your 50th episode, I think it's only proper that you do Friday the 13th Part 3D and get your damnedest to get a Dana Kimmel interview. I seem to, Erik, you seem to remember you had a little Dana Kimmel interview, didn't you, at some point?
Yeah. We got Dana Kimmel to record. Actually, we do genuinely have Dana Kimmel doing You're Listening to Hysteria Continues sting, don't we?
No, we do not.
Oh, do we not? Oh, sorry.
I tried. When I met her, I tried, but she gave me the whole, I don't know if my legal team would allow that. And I was sitting there thinking, okay.
Okay, well, that quashes any idea of getting an interview then.
A shame. Okay. Well, he does say, take off the glove and give it to her good. Well, give her the real hard ones. Ooh. And likewise, you've forgotten her heartbreaking performance in Sweet 16. A suggestion for top threes: worst slasher sex scenes. So that could be interesting, couldn't it? And thanks again for putting the time and effort into this wonderful podcast. I hope to hear many more episodes. Happy holidays, guys. Georgie.
Gorgeous George.
How would you pronounce that? Is it G-Y?
Is it J-O-R-G-E?
No, G-Y-O-R-G-Y. It's kind of a Russian or it's kind of a...
Georgie?
Yeah, I'd say Georgie as well.
Yeah. So I apologise, Georgie, if we've completely mangled that, which I probably have, but my pronunciations are never the best.
It's Hungarian, apparently. I'm just looking on Wikipedia, which of course is encyclopedic. Yeah.
Okay. Well, top three worst slasher sex scenes could be quite interesting, couldn't they?
I already know what my number one would be.
Sorry.
What? Are we allowed to say? Or?
Huh? No, I said I know what my number one pick would be already.
Okay. Well,
but I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say in case we do that.
Okay. Well, we might be doing that one. So well, thank you for that. And Joseph, you've got. What should we do? Voicemail now, or do you want to?
Let me read this one, then you can go to voicemail, and then I'll do the last one.
Okay.
But anyway, this is from our good friend Tosca Top Socks.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, this is for somebody to say yay.
Voicemail.
He says, "Hey guys, how's it going? I have mightily enjoyed the last few podcasts, and I especially love the Halloween double bill. Your recent Giallo podcast got me thinking, and not just about Erik pulling his underpants up his butt crack, but about the elaborate and sometimes bonkers titles our Italian cousins give to their movies, and I started wondering what they would have called some of our favorite slasher films. Here's a list of the few alternative titles I came up with. Friday the 13th Part 2, 4 Flies on Your Hairy Sack. Halloween, The Man with Shatner's Face. The Burning, Your Tool is Sharp but Your Face is Crispy. Slumber Party Massacre, A Bay of Boobs. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Nah, crap is crap in any language. You can't polish a turd. Can you guys think of any other alternatives? Anywho, I just wanted to wish you guys and your rabid fans an absolutely fantastically Black Christmas and a bloody New Year. See what I did there? Here's to 2013 and to more fabulous podcasts. Have a cool Yule, Erik, Justin, Nathan, and Joseph. Big love, Tosca Top Socks."
Hey, thank you, Tosca.
Yeah. Actually, some great ideas there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you think any off the top of your heads?
God, I'm trying.
Or maybe we can come up with some for the next show, can't we?
A top 3 idea of what you came up with.
Yeah.
Yes. What about Night of the Demon? Don't torture my winkle.
Should we go to the voicemail?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hello, gentlemen. This is Brett again, and I am cooking manicotti as I record this message. Manicotti is a dish with large noodles that you stuff full of cheese, and you also stick a large amount of meat inside. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but anyway, I'm just about cooking the meat right now, but soon I'm going to shove the meat in. And I thought I'd give you a call because I was listening to your Screen podcast while I cooked. I wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed it. One of my favorite slashers, although I actually also liked 2 better. For a long time, I thought 2 was best of the trilogy. And then, after some time, I see that 2's not as sharply written as 1. It was clearly done in kind of a rush. So I give the edge to 1 now. I thought 4 was terrible. I wish they'd never tarnished it. I wish they could have just left it with 3, but nothing stays pure, does it? I was going to say I want you guys to review Maniac, because I just watched that again with Mr. Joe Spinell. Obviously, he wasn't in the room with me when I watched it, but it's a movie I've always enjoyed more than I probably should. I think it's very effectively done. The only thing that's bad about it is the last 5 minutes. And some of the relationship with Carol Monroe kind of comes out of nowhere, but I digress. So that would be a good one. Eyes of a Stranger, another one of my favorites. I would love to hear a review of that. When is the Friday the 13th 3 going to go up? And if it does, are you going to have Dana Kimmel interview? Because that'd be nice. I'm sure she'd be willing, unless she's listened to any of your shows and heard what you said about her. But 3, that's one of my favorites. I would be eager to hear your thoughts. I think it's all good, cheesy fun. That's about all the suggestions I have. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to say. Oh, but of course, have any of you hosts ever seen each other naked? That's one thing I was wondering. With 3/4 being gay, I wonder if that's ever come up, if you will. Oh, and also I wanted to tell you that the song I played on my last message was Susie and the Banshees' New Skin, which is at the end of Showgirls. And it's a song I enjoy. It's on my workout mix. I saw a dead horse the other day, and from a distance, I thought it was Toya. Okay, that's all I have for now, you guys. Still enjoying the show. Looking forward to your next one. Bye-bye.
That was pure evil.
Evil?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't.
Toya doesn't look like a dead horse.
That was probably one of Justin's favorite voicemails.
Yeah, I imagine it is Justin putting on an accent.
Yeah. Good accent there, Justin.
Well, I haven't. Well, actually, funnily enough, I have seen a picture of naked Erik.
What?
Well, I put.
Oh, yeah, you posted it, didn't you?
Yeah. You photoshopped my head quite crudely onto some porn star's body.
Well, yeah. It's the kind of thing. It was you having sex with Ben Tramer, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what it was.
See, these are all the behind the scenes gossip that you don't get to see. The kind of the things we do to amuse ourselves when we're not on air.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, I have seen Nathan naked.
I've seen Joseph naked, and it's an image I'd like to remove.
Yes.
Really?
I think we were drunk, and I remember. Yeah,
Joe and I were roommates for years, so I mean, of course, it's bound to happen at some point.
It's one of those instances where Nathan was so drunk, or I was so drunk, we had to carry one another to the bathroom to throw up. So
what, naked?
Yeah, I don't know why, but
because probably one of us had gone to bed already, and
Well, I remember you had vomited all over your clothes.
Yes, I did. I'm sure. I don't drink much anymore because of those days.
And they accuse us of being the drunken ones, Justin.
I know, that's outrageous.
Yeah, I did all my drinking like 10 years ago. I'm done with it.
I'm done myself. I haven't drank in a long time.
What, 20 minutes?
I had a nice pint of Black Sheep Ale while we were recording, but I had to.
I will give Nathan props. He's hung like a bear.
A bear?
Ooh.
A baby bear.
Did you hear Erik?
A baby bear.
Yeah.
Is that props? Is that supposed to be props?
Sure.
Like a donkey is the phrase.
I thought it's hung like a horse or something.
Oh yeah, or a horse either. Yeah.
There you go.
But also, no, I do appreciate. Now we know what Susie song that was. So thank you ever so much for.
What era is New Skin from?
It's the last ever. I think it was the last ever song they recorded. It's on the Showgirls soundtrack.
All right.
But also the other thing, I do apologise to Georgie or Gorgie. I didn't read out the last little bit, the PS, just missed that, which is Erik. You'll like this because it readdresses the balance. He says Kaleidoscope is one of my top 10 albums of all time. I'm also a big fan of the Creatures. What are your thoughts on the Great Susie Sue side project? Well, Erik, would you like to talk about that?
Well, I do like Susie and the Banshees, and I do like the Creatures. In fact, me and my brother went halves and bought Miss the Girl on 7-inch back in 1983.
Wow.
So we were actually Susie fans way back then.
Gosh. Yeah. Had they sold out of Toyah?
Believe it or not, I wasn't actually that big into Toyah at the time. It's only later years I became interested in Toyah.
Oh, you mean like of irony?
No.
Oh.
Because I think she's brilliant.
Okay.
When did you start buying Toyah records yourself? When did you first buy Anthem, the 1981 album?
Erik, this will come as a huge shock to you, and I think you need to sit yourself down. And
I am sitting down.
Take yourself in hand.
Yeah.
I've never bought a Toyah record. I do apologise. Well, I don't apologise, but I've never bought a Toyah record. I remember seeing her on Top of the Pops, but that was the reason I've never bought a Toyah record, I think.
You are just pure evil to me all the time, 24/7. If you're not making horrible pictures of me using Photoshop, you're slagging off Toyah.
And if anyone would like to see that photo of Erik,
I will put it up on Facebook later today.
Okay.
I have always pictured Ben Tramer as a bottom, though, in fairness.
Well, yes. That's
bottom
how
of
I pictured it.
Yeah.
It's not that explicit. It's not explicit, is it? You don't see anything, do you? It's just kind of... It's
the bottom
Ben
of a
Tramer
horse.
in the Halloween... Because in Halloween 2, he's got the Michael Myers mask, but with a blonde shock of hair, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm sure people listening to this, it's kind of not quite the Christmas cracker they probably had in mind. But the Creatures, I think they're fantastic. I love the Creatures, and I really like which is the one, I can't remember the name of it now. The one with the Anima Animus is one of my favourites. So I really like that. And Boomerang is my favourite Creatures record. So thank you for asking, Gorgie. But Joseph, do you have one more for us?
Yeah, just a little one here. Last but not least, this says,
Joseph.
I don't watch scary movies. In fact, if a scary movie trailer is on, I will willingly break my lower limbs to get to the remote to turn it off. But I think you guys are a good comedic group that plays well off of one another, and I like the show. And that is from my tall, sexy friend, Jessica Polner.
Oh.
Yeah.
What,
So there you go.
Is that your girlfriend, or is that just a friend?
She is just a friend.
Just a friend, okay. Oh, right. Well, thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
It's that's a nice good bit of feedback.
Well, the night is young.
Watch some scary movies. Yes.
Well, the night's young.
Yeah. In fairness, a lot of the movies we cover aren't particularly scary.
No, not that scary. But do we have anything left to say to the people who are still conscious, and who haven't turned off? I think we're out of feedback, aren't we? But I would say thank you ever so much for a bumper feedback. And actually, before we go, I'll quickly play the contact details because we'd like more.
Be sure to search for and like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at THC_podcast. Our voicemail is 858-233-9281. And you can email us directly at the.hysteria.continues@gmail.com.
Okay, indeed. Any kind of words of good tidings we want to say to our dear listeners?
Have a safe and happy Christmas. And Merry New Year!
To all a good night.
Yes, Trading Places.
Very good.
Thank you for correcting my English, which stinks.
I am Nanja
student
from Cameroon.
Exchange student from Cameroon.
Yeah, that's where you get to see Jamie Lee Curtis's Norks.
Yes,
indeed.
for the first time.
I just want to say, Nullag Hunna.
Pardon?
Nullag Hunna.
What's
that? It's Happy Christmas in Irish.
Is it? Oh.
Yeah. There we go.
Well,
and what's that?
That's me clearing my throat, getting ready to say
right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time to wrap this puppy up, isn't it? So shall we play out with Home for the Holidays? This is the music, which I'm going to play out while we're still here.
Justin, you should tell everyone what we're picking next.
Oh, yes. Well,
yes,
thank you.
For a big 50. Same age as
the big
you,
50.
Justin.
So, pardon?
The same age as you, which is ironic, really.
Oh, I'm not 50.
What a coincidence.
No, I'm not 50, as you well know.
He's 51.
For the big 50, thanks to everyone for your suggestions because they've been all noted and we have ignored them all.
We're taking on one suggestion from 51.
Well, at least one suggestion because Friday 13th Part 3D will be coming up relatively shortly in the new year, I imagine.
I would say so.
And also another one that's been suggested is coming up possibly in the next, well, certainly early in the new year. But we are going to go because it's a big show. Thought we'd go for one of the big films that hasn't been covered yet, and I think it'll make for quite a fun podcast. And that is Hell Night, the Linda Blair sort of slasher from 1981. I think that'll be a really good fun one to do, and we're going to be returning in the new year, and that'll be our first one in the new year. But also, watch out on your feeds for our Christmas slasher quiz, which is coming up, to play along with that. That will be coming out in, I think, probably about the 21st, 22nd of December. And then we'll be back in the first week of January with Hell Night. So have a great Christmas, and thank you for listening, everyone. And we'll just play out with a little bit of the music from Home from the Holidays. So I'm just going to play that out while we're chatting. So, anyone want to say anything else?
Happy Christmas!
And I know something bad is going to happen because you found my joke.
Yes.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Hear how you butchered my joke. Everybody be quiet. Listen.
My name's Justin Kurzweil, and I love Toyo.
He kept it in.
He kept it in.
I can't believe it.
Did you both know about this? Did you both know?
I knew Erik and Erik and Nathan knew.
Did they?
God. Yes, they did.
And oh, how we laughed.
Oh yeah. But you thought you could slip it past me, didn't you?
Yeah. So you're like, I don't think I heard this, Erik or Nathan. Is this the so and so? So I thought maybe he doesn't actually listen to the whole thing. So I tried to trick you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't pull a wool over an old dog's eye or something. Right. Merry Christmas.
We don't talk until the new year.
Hi, y'all. My name is Tracy, and I love to do aerobics. I've got to go out and do my aerobics now in a second, actually, so I'll be out of your way in a second. And after that, I'm going to take a shower. I want to say I love Toya, but I don't like Susie. As hot up as that, I'd never get. Bye, y'all.